Did I? Oh, you're going to get it. Oh, wear a mask.
Adam Curry, John C. Dvorak.
It's Thursday, January 14th, 2021. This is your award-winning Gitmo Nation Well.
This is No Agenda.
Counting T-minus 6 and broadcasting live from Opportunity Zone 33 here in the frontier of Austin, Texas, capital of the Drone Star State. In the morning, everybody. I'm Adam Curry.
And from northern Silicon Valley, where everybody's awaiting show 1313, the double lucky numbers, I'm John C. Dvorak.
It's Crackpot and Buzzkill in the morning.
Yay. Let me start off by saying thank you to all producers, once again, past and present, for making this podcast possible with our value for value model. These are interesting times we live in. And if you were Ben Shapiro, you might have to watch what you say.
Cumulus Media, which is home to several conservative talk radio hosts, is cracking down on shows that push election fraud conspiracies. The company memo tells hosts, quote, "We need to induce national calm now," and warns them to stop suggesting the election isn't over. Anyone breaking the new rule can be fired.
Can you imagine how tough this must be for Ben Shapiro now? Can you just imagine?
Does he work for them?
Yeah, he has a daily radio show. Yeah.
Well, I wonder what he has to say about this. Will he discuss it on his show?
There's probably a little line in the memo that says, "Do not discuss this on the air." It wouldn't surprise me.
That would be the typical way it's done.
That would not surprise me.
No, that's the way you do it, because you don't want to be blasted. This is like a lot of companies you do any business with. They have terms of service includes non-disparagement.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and there's a morality clause, all kinds of stuff like that. And man, the mainstream media, M5M, and I expected it to be kind of bad, the going after Trumplicans. Yes, I said it because I'm hearing it more and more. But the extent, man, the only thing they haven't hit yet is DNS. That's going to happen too.
I don't think they need to go that far. It'll be over by then.
What will be over by then?
This bickering. Except for the fact that I'm going to give you kudos on this one, because I thought it was bull crap. But it does turn out, especially my clips seem to confirm this, is that they may impeach Trump. Which they've done, the House, snap impeachment.
Yeah.
This is by resolution. Hold up your hands if you want to impeach Trump again. Yeah, we do.
But wait, isn't it done? Isn't he impeached now?
Yeah, he's impeached.
Yeah.
And so they sent it over to the Senate, which will reconvene on the 19th, the day before he leaves.
Yeah.
But they can still have the trial after he's gone.
Oh, of course.
Now,
the idea is to have him as close to dead as possible. Have you seen, all the banks are saying they won't do business with him? But if you just look across the spectrum of deplatforming from modern life, Parler, I didn't know this. Even their lawyers quit on them. It's pretty bizarre. It's so bad that lots of world leaders are now, lots of douchebags who are the heads of state around the world are coming out and saying, "Oh, this goes too far." And I know why. They're sitting there going, "Holy crap.
Funny.
Holy crap. These guys could do that to me, and it could be the Biden crime family." Amazon is the worst. It's just getting rid of everything everywhere.
I think Amazon's the only one making a major mistake. The rest of these guys are doing this kind of thing kind of routinely. Okay, can I play a few clips of some people standing up for Trump?
Okay, sure.
I found, Tom McClintock's the one that all the right-wing shows played this little speech. I have the second part of it that none of them played. But this is McClintock standing up for Trump during this. I'd call it a kangaroo court.
I didn't like the president's speech on January 6th either. I thought he was wrong to assert that the vice president in Congress can pick and choose which electoral votes to count. He was wrong to set such a confrontational tone in a politically tense situation. But what did he actually say? His exact words were, quote, "I know that everyone here will soon be marching over to the Capitol building to peacefully and patriotically make your voices heard," unquote. That's impeachable? That's called freedom of speech. Now, he also threatened to oppose candidates in future elections. And by the way, that was directed at Republicans like me who'd resolved to uphold the constitutional process and protect the Electoral College. Well, so what? That's called politics. If we impeached every politician who gave a fiery speech to a crowd of partisans, this Capitol would be deserted. That's what the president did. That is all he did. He specifically told the crowd to protest peacefully and patriotically. And the vast majority of them did.
Yeah, no one knows this. In at least half of the United States and probably the rest of the world. No one knows that. No one knows what actually happened.
No. It's just it's a kangaroo court, and the whole thing is rigged. And the media is all in, and the whole ass ridiculous. But let's listen to the second part of this, which is the part nobody played, and I thought it was also good.
But every movement has a lunatic fringe. Suppressing free speech is not the answer. Holding rioters accountable for their actions is the answer. And we are. And if we'd prosecuted BLM and Antifa rioters across the country with the same determination these last 6 months,
third rail,
this incident may not have happened at all. Now, short of declaring war, the power of impeachment is the most solemn and consequential act that Congress can take. To use it in this manner, in the heat of the moment, with no hearings, no due process, many members phoning in their votes after a hastily called debate, exactly 1 week before a new president is to take office, trivializes this power to the point of caricature. The Democrats have won everything in sight: the House, the Senate, and the presidency. In a republic, that calls for magnanimity by the victors. Only in a banana republic does it call for vengeance.
Joe Biden's not even president yet, and already they're screwing up the audio.
Oh, I noticed this, but before you get to that, which is funny, I have, we have our favorite Congress people.
Yes.
I've got a new favorite. It's a little fireball woman named Lauren Boebert.
Is this the blondie?
No, she's a little brunette.
Oh,
and she's
okay.
and she goes up there and she's shaking her fist, and I just got a kick out of it because this is only a 15-second clip. This is rep. It's under rep, REP. Because she throws in a kind of a no agenda term.
Rather than actually helping American people in this time, we start impeachments that further divide our country. I call bullcrap. I hear the Democrats demanding unity. Sadly, they are only unified in hate.
Now, we'll know it's true if in the future she throws out a bogative. If she does, hey, this is a bogative bill.
Bogative's tough.
No, you don't. I mean, we have reach, baby. Now, let's go back and forth for a second. A little setup. I was talking with Sir Gene the other day, and we're talking about chicks, as we do. And I said, and we were talking about how, I'm just telling you the conversation. How we got there is unimportant. And I said, women have such a odd image of themselves. And, I said, a man can look at a woman and say, wow, baby, you look great. And the woman will look in the mirror and say, I look horrible. I look fat. I look this. I look that. And we concluded that really, truly, men see something different. And that women just we're not seeing the same thing. It's just not possible. And add on to that we have testosterone, which chemically clouds our vision even more. So for the half of the country that hates Trump, I guess we're just going to divide it like that. It seems to be about half. I cannot fault them. Because what they are seeing, what they are hearing is so it's become their reality. You can never convince anybody otherwise, ever. And just listen to, I'll just pull two clips here from one from CNN. Just hear how everything is being presented. And this is really tough to sit and listen to MSNBC and CNN all day because, just so you know, COVID now has a bigger threat. Donald Trump is more deadly than COVID. There's nothing almost about COVID. It's all about Trump 24 hours a day. And here's an example from CNN.
He was hard to reach, and you know why? Because it was live TV, said one close Trump advisor. If it's TiVo, he just hits pause and takes the calls. If it's live TV, he watches it. And he was just watching it all unfold. Watching an attack on democracy. Watching people hunt the halls of Congress for his loyal Vice President, Mike Pence, hoping to hang him. Watching people with zip ties search for Nancy Pelosi and others. What do you think the president was thinking while watching that? And not responding to send in National Guard or immediately addressing his followers, ordering them to stop? I mean, was he watching, hoping it would continue? Was he hoping the man he had just tweeted against? Was he hoping Nancy Pelosi would be? Was he hoping this would somehow usher in a new Trump era in America? And then Ivanka could take over after that, and then Donnie Jr.? Hard to imagine it's possible that the president could have hoped that this actually would result in him continuing on in power or in some new form of power. But if he didn't want it to go on, then why didn't he act to stop it? Remember, his first video message immediately after the worst of the attack was him expressing his love for the attackers, calling them special people.
It's very fine people, Anderson. I mean, that kind of messaging is powerful, man. It's powerful with the images, the riots in the background. ABC does a good job at it, too.
Well, it's certainly not the first time that we have heard the president.
Listen to this listen to this edit. Listen to the music ABC has put under this little 42-second clip.
Well, it's certainly not the first time that we have heard the president not come out outright and condemn violence and condemn riots. In Charlottesville, when you had white supremacists marching, engaging in violence, the president said there were very fine people on both sides. And when it was his own supporters that gathered in Washington, D.C. to stand by him, when it was rioters storming into the United States Capitol, he called them very special people. He told them that he loved them and politely asked them to go home.
I love the music edition. And then let's just do a little piece. See, MSNBC, Ari Melber.
You may have seen something Wednesday that looks different today. You may have seen something today that you're going to understand better in the future. All I can tell you is that in these 6 days, the evidence we have, the independent reporting we have, the view you saw there, shot by the criminals inside their own conspiracy, shows the depths of this insurrection, which was not an accident or a fringe activity. It was the direct consequence of what Donald Trump had been doing for 4 years, trying to turn this country, your country, into an authoritarian nation that he would lead indefinitely. It is that serious. Keep that in mind.
Now, I'm not sure how it works.
By the way, I'm going to keep that in mind. I didn't realize that that's what he was up to.
Hey, keep that in mind, will you? It's I don't know what it is that makes us immune for that, but it's clearly we've either missed a piece of the programming or we got deprogrammed. You've probably always been this way, but I certainly, 25 years ago, I probably would have been all in. Oh my gosh, what's going on? This is crazy. America's melting down. He's trying to kill everybody. We couldn't do a set of this without Chris Cuomo, of course.
This impeachment is causing tremendous anger. I think it's causing tremendous danger to our country. If you read my speech, and many people have done it, and I've seen it both in the papers and in the media, on television, it's been analyzed, and people thought that what I said was totally appropriate.
Who? Not you. Not me. The only people who thought it was appropriate were the members of that mob, those would-be terrorists that responded to his words by attacking our democracy. Turns out that now, even die-hard Retrumplicans are doubting their dedication.
You just put that in there for that reason.
I did. So, may I remind everybody with a supercut of how Democrats and the media, Democratic Party, specifically politicians, how they responded to the Black Lives Matter riots. Now, let's just remember.
I'm glad you got this.
The Retrumplicans are being, I can't even say it, are being saying, hey, wait a minute, Trump, he incited this. He's been doing it for 4 years. He told him to go do it. Go take your country back. He tried to have him overturn the election. Violence, insurrection, domestic terrorists. We only have to look back at the past year.
I just don't even know why there aren't uprisings all over the country. Maybe there will be.
People need to start taking to the streets. This is a dictator.
You know, there needs to be unrest in the streets for as long as there's unrest in our lives.
Enemies of the state.
Show me where it says that protests are supposed to be polite and peaceful.
Do something about your dad's immigration practices, you feckless.
When they go low, we kick them.
How do you resist the temptation to run up and wring her neck?
The biggest terror threat in this country is white men, most of them radicalized to the right.
I thought he should have punched him in the face. I said, even if you lost, he insulted your wife.
Yes.
He came down the escalator and called Mexicans rapists and murderers. He said, well, what do you think I should have done? I said, I think you should have punched him in the face and then gotten out of the race. You would have been a hero.
I'd like to punch him in the face. I said if we were in high school, I'd take him behind the gym and beat the hell out of him.
Punch some people in the face!
When was the last time an actor assassinated a president?
They're still going to have to go out and put a bullet in Donald Trump, and that's a fact.
Look as his character is stabbed to death.
Where is John Wilkes Booth when you need him?
That's it right there, pulling up.
I have thought an awful lot about blowing up the White House.
A Missouri state senator is under investigation by the Secret Service after saying she hopes President Trump is assassinated.
I will go and take Trump out tonight.
And if you see anybody from that cabinet in a restaurant, in a department store, at a gasoline station, you get out and you create a crowd. And you push back on them. And you tell them they're not welcome anymore, anywhere.
And sadly, the domestic enemies to our voting system and our honoring our Constitution are right at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue.
They're not going to stop before Election Day in November, and they're not going to stop after Election Day. And that should be, everyone should take note of that on both levels, that this isn't, they're not going to let up, and they should not.
If you think we're rallying now, you ain't seen nothing yet.
Hey.
There was one left out of that. I heard in a different supercut, which was Cuomo. Cuomo was in that one.
But not the good. He has a lot of good bits, probably.
Yeah, he had one going. This is the way democracy works. Riots and protests and mayhem and burning is the way it is. Get over it.
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
Now, this is the biggest group of phonies that it's sickening to witness it, to be honest about it.
Well, no, what's sickening is, this is who they pretend to be.
Freedom!
Yeah. We're going to get a lot of freedom. But also, just looking at the deplatforming, the account freezing, all kinds of just being dropped from media life, for sure, book deals, all the whatever stuff is happening. The Democratic Party appears to be taking out their opponents before they're in charge. Let's weaken them a little bit. Let's make sure they don't have a voice on the Twitter. The Parler thing, the more I think about it, Apple's role in that specifically and Amazon's role, I mean, taking out a potential competitor, because, Apple is aligned with Twitter. The Twitter app has deep integration in the iPhone.
I have Tim Cook.
Oh, okay. I'm about to smash all my iPhones. I think we need to start this movement because Tim Cook, I didn't hear him speaking up about BLM or anything like that with people who...
well, he might be this morning. There's an interview coming out today.
Ah, okay. So what do we have?
I doubt it, though, because it's Gayle King that's interviewing him.
Yeah, sure. That'll work.
She's hardcore, so let's listen to what she says.
In an exclusive interview you will see only on CBS this morning, we always like when that happens, we spoke with Apple CEO Tim Cook about the aftermath of the assault on the Capitol. Apple has removed the social media app Parler, which is popular with the far right, from its app store. Tim Cook says the platform violated Apple's terms of service by not adequately monitoring posts that incite violence. We talked about the attack and asked him what he thinks needs to happen next.
I think it's key that people be held accountable for it. This is not something that should skate. This is something that we've got to be very serious about and understand, and then we need to move forward.
Do you think President Trump should be held accountable for it? When you said people should be held accountable.
Yeah.
There's a whole discussion about that even as we sit here today.
I think no one is above the law. I mean, that's a great thing about our country. We're a rule of law country. I think everyone that had a part in it needs to be held accountable.
We're all told this as a little kid. There are consequences to your actions. But I don't know how we just let this go.
I would agree. I don't think we should let it go. I think holding people accountable is important.
And you can see more of our exclusive interview with Tim Cook tomorrow on CBS This Morning. Listen, we should say, he didn't sit and say, I want to talk to CBS about this. This was an interview that was scheduled because they have a big announcement that they want to announce tomorrow. It is not a new product. We should say it is not a new product.
Don't get everybody excited.
Yeah.
Exactly. He's so phony, insincere. He needs to announce a new product. CES is underway, and everyone's doing their announcements, and he wants to do a big one. And it looks pretty calculated to me. Phony.
Well, that was the most shallow interview you could imagine.
He's an iPhony. He is. He's an iPhony. Phony.
Yeah, right.
Big fat phony.
Big fat phony.
There were a lot of people were, as part of the terror campaign, to prove one side over the other, which they don't have to do. This is just all reinforcement. You can never convince one side of the other's visual because, as I explained, it's chemical. It's in your head. You can't unsee it the way they see it or where you see it. Let's talk about how scary it was for the Congress, House of Representative members who were there. It was so scary. It was really, really scary. And thank goodness, Eric Swalwell trots back out on the stage.
Is it because you'll be at the inauguration, you'll obviously be back in the Capitol again doing the nation's business later today, tomorrow morning. Is it true that you guys were even told, remember bulletproof vests are reimbursable expenses?
Yeah, he's so afraid now that he needs a bulletproof vest.
We were sent an email last night that listed some of the reimbursable expenses for your office account to protect yourself. And just to, not tip off these terrorists as to what we're doing, we are taking security measures, and we've been advised as to how we can protect ourselves and our family. And this poppy really is to just show ourselves and the world that we can carry this off on January 20th, and that we're not going to be bullied or intimidated and not perform this transfer of power.
That'd be hilarious. Everyone's wearing a bulletproof vest.
10,000 National Guards. The thing, they have a language issue with the descriptions, and it's been bothering me. Mm-hmm. A terrorist, by definition, is not the same as an insurgent at all.
No.
And they're not the same as a coup attempt, a person attempting a coup.
But can you
terrorist is very specific. It's to terrorize the public. It's not to do anything else. It's just to terrorize them, to make them for political political ends.
Can you be all three at once?
You can't be an Can you be a terrorist? You could be all three, but it seems to me that they're isolating these terms. That if you're all three, you'd have to call it as such. I think.
Right. Well,
terrorist, insurgents. It's just nobody uses these terms interchangeably, but they are. They're using them interchangeably.
And but this is also part of our modern day parlance. Doesn't matter what it is. I'll give you an example. We went from a positive test to cases to infectious oozing citizens.
Yes, they do that, but in this case, that was a march toward a march toward a term, a march toward infections. There's no march toward anything with these three terms. There may be a fourth in there that I'm not remembering. They're just using them interchangeably for no good reason. Because they don't have their act together, and the other thing is they know it's bull crap.
Yeah,
these are not
that's the main
terrorists.
problem.
They stayed within the lines. They didn't steal any of the paintings. They didn't spray paint the place. They're not insurgents. They weren't. What were they going to accomplish? There wasn't a coup attempt. How are you going to do a coup attempt against the standing president who's behind it? It doesn't make any sense.
They don't really understand the definition of the terms.
I don't think they care about the. I think they know it's all bogus. Yeah. That's what I'm convinced of.
Let's listen to some more.
They're just using these terms, and Eric Swallowwell, which is what they're calling him now.
Oh boy,
is a doofus. A doofus.
Let's listen to another terrorized representative, Representative Torres.
I was in the last group to be evacuated. We ran down the halls, stairs, near a mob that was being held on the ground at gunpoint. I sheltered for 4 to 5 hours in a room that was packed shoulder to shoulder with people. Adding more trauma to the riot we had just survived were several Republican colleagues refusing to wear a mask.
Oh, that was the scariest thing. They wouldn't wear a mask.
You know, she sounds, I wish we get, this is impossible to get this clip, but she sounds like those two dingbat journalists from Cal that were rescued from North Korea.
Yes.
Ling Ling and Ding Dong. Remember those two?
Yeah, it's the same programming. This is traumatized programming. Yeah. And I think they've been traumatized.
We've heard this voice before is the point I'm trying to make.
Yeah. Well, because it's... Well, that's interesting. She sounds really traumatized, or maybe not. Now... So we've heard the very fine...
Well, she sounds as traumatized as that woman that was on the C-SPAN call, the Zoomer, who was all shook up, but she was sitting at home by her, her locked down.
Yeah.
But she had that same voice, that same traumatized sound. I would like to know how old that... What's the name of that congressman that gave that little...
Her name is Torres, Torres. And
how old she is.
And while you're looking that up, so we've heard the very fine people come back again in the news report. So now is a nice time to start wrapping up our packages on President Trump. And let's remind everybody of the so accurate story of the president wanting a moat. Do you remember this story?
Yeah, this reminds me of the gold toilet story too.
Yeah, but it was he was building border wall, and sources claim that first he said, why can't we shoot him in the knees? And then just shoot him in the knees.
Yeah.
And he said, I want a moat with alligators. This is recounted in this 18-second clip.
Over time, President Trump has demanded modifications that have been largely rejected. He wanted it painted black to burn the hands of those who touched it. He wanted it adorned with deadly spikes. He even wanted to surround it with an alligator-filled moat. Just a little background on this wall.
that was when he went down to Alamo, Texas, to do a little speech at the wall. That's what the mainstream brought back for us. Thanks. Yeah. No accomplishment.
A review of bullcrap.
Yeah.
Let's review our own bullcrap about Trump as if it's true.
Yeah, that's the best. Circular. It's the way to go.
Okay, let me throw it to you, Jim. Okay. We got a list of things he supposedly did. Okay. Getting worse by the minute. A couple of things we got to make sure Meghan McCain gets her word in from you.
Oh yes. Okay.
I just think we need to treat the domestic terrorists the way we do actual terrorists. I think we need to consider all possibilities. I'm not against sending these people to Gitmo, and that may sound extreme. These are domestic terrorists who attacked our own republic. They should be treated the same way we treat Al Qaeda.
Oh my!
Send them to Gitmo.
I have no problem sending them to Gitmo. I'm on the View. My opinion matters.
I have 3 clips from Chris Coombs.
Who he
PBS.
Oh, yes. Chris Coombs.
He brought up a point that I don't think we've discussed, or it hasn't been even, I don't even think it's been acknowledged that much, but it does explain a lot. Now, this is a 3-parter. Let's play part 1, and then he gets to the part 2 is where he talks about about what he calls repentance. And this is really an important concept because this is what this is all about. Start
but you
Chris.
are very familiar with your Republican colleagues. Do you think there's any chance that Majority Leader Mitch McConnell would agree to that sort of special circumstances to speed up a trial in the Senate in just the next few days?
You know, Judy, it seems unlikely. But one of the things that was most striking to me Wednesday night was after law enforcement regained control of the Capitol, and we all have to be grateful for the men and women of law enforcement, the special officers and agents who regained control of the Capitol under very tough circumstances. When we went back into the chamber, some of the strongest language about the importance of certifying this election came from Vice President Pence, Majority Leader McConnell, other senators I rarely agree with. Folks like Senators Cotton and Lee, Toomey, and others spoke very forcefully. They recognize how important it is for there to be truth-telling to the American people, how important it is for President Trump's misled and misguided base to hear from Republican leaders that Joe Biden is the duly elected next president of the United States.
But at this point, it appears it's more likely once the House impeaches, which it appears it will do, a trial would take place in the Senate after President Trump leaves office. It would be when Joe Biden would then be the president. How do you see that complicating then President Biden's agenda? We just heard the reporting from Yamiche on splitting the time every day. But is that the way Joe Biden wants to begin his administration?
Well, you know, President-elect Biden was in no small part elected because he ran on bringing our country together, on moving us forward past the divisive presidency of Donald Trump. And in this moment when the pandemic is raging out of control, we need the sort of leadership that Joe Biden can provide to our country. We have two pandemics, one, this COVID-19 public health crisis, but also a pandemic of division and
I find it odd because we heard the pandemic in America was racism. I think we have a few clips even.
We have three pandemics.
Yes, we have a COVID, we have a divisiveness, and we have racism. It's a pandemic of racism. That's the virus.
Let's listen to the point that I think that got my attention and made me get these clips is what he has to say in part two.
Okay, hold on a second. I lost my place. There we go.
A number of my Republican colleagues have reached out to me saying that impeachment is the wrong path, that it won't bring reconciliation. And as I've said in other contexts, repentance is required before reconciliation. We need to hear and see some actions by President Trump or those folks in the other party who have long encouraged and supported him despite his unconventional and his destructive behavior. We need to see them do an about-face and recognize the harm that was done on Wednesday and the actions that need to be taken to bring our country back together.
Yeah, so to repent is the act of expressing extreme
begging
regret.
Forgiveness.
Yes, on your knees begging for forgiveness, yes. So we need that first. And are they going to wait for that, or are they trying to force that?
They're not going to dole out this any forgiveness or any of the reconciliation is the term he used.
Yes.
No reconciliation until there's repentance.
Damn.
Repentance. The last clip, he reiterates this.
Well, do you see any indication that's going to happen? You had 8 members of the Senate who who objected to Joe Biden's electoral vote win. 138 members, Republicans in the House, or a number, I believe that's correct. Do you expect any of them to express regret, to apologize, to try to change direction on where they stand right now?
Judy, there were 13 senators originally prepared to challenge the certification. Roughly half of them changed their mind and changed their vote after they saw the tragedy of the storming of the Capitol. What I struggle with most is folks like leaders in the House, McCarthy and Scalise, folks in the Senate, Senators Hawley and Cruz, who are seasoned lawyers who both clerked for the Supreme Court, folks who I believe know better than to do this kind of thing. And I think all of them should be publicly speaking about how they have repented of this action and they regret and want to move past the violence and divisiveness that resulted.
Now, repenting. I'm going to read one of the definitions. The repentance called forth throughout the Bible is summoned to a personal, absolute, and ultimate unconditional surrender. In this case, to God.
Mm-hmm.
But in that case, it would be to the Democrats.
Right.
So it reduces sorrow and regret. It is more than that.
Is there a difference?
In repenting, one makes and this is what Judy says. She uses the word change of direction. It means a change of direction. 180-degree turn in the Bible towards God, but in their case, it's toward the Democrats. It's toward them. You must repent. You must change your direction, flip around, and see the truth is the opposite of Trump. We are the truth. This is really sick.
We are the truth. Well, I'm sure that some of the Democrats, Republicans too, but definitely Democrats have godlike tendencies. Like they are the almighty rulers.
Well, they consider it to be the case at the moment. So there's no reconciliation, none of this crap that Biden ran on, none of this stuff he ran on until there's repentance.
What is missing?
And that is, people have to realize how important that is. This is going to be their excuse for not doing what Biden wants to do, which is to, bring the country together, make us all one big happy family. That's not going to happen until there's repentance, and that definition needs to be explored.
Missing from all the reporting is any depth of investigation, or at least presenting it, why, as they keep saying, 75 million Americans are pissed off. You're just supposed to think, well, because they were hypnotized by Trump, and now they're sad that their leader is gone. But even if you think that way, that's not sufficient to govern a country. You have to say, okay, so what do we do for these people who are? I've never heard anyone say that. It's just, you guys suck. You're all Trumpers, and you don't have the truth. And until your guy repents, you ain't getting nothing. Just going to be treated the same as we treat him. That's the message.
Yeah, it's totally the message. They had a couple. The foreign press was all over this. Deutsche Welle being the worst of the group because they're a Chinese front organization, from all I can tell. They had a couple of analysts on, and both of them were Trump haters, and they're trying to analyze this with two Trump haters. I just didn't get that. Here's just look at this one. This will be the Election Prep 1 Deutsche Welle.
Worry is that pro-Trump supporters will try to disrupt the ceremonies, but police wants to be better prepared this time. The city is in a state of emergency. Buses with National Guard troops arrive around the clock.
Okay, you can kill that clip. I want to play a different clip.
Well, can I just say something about
for the election?
Can I just say something about that?
Yeah.
All of this noise and reports and FBI intelligence that there's going to be armed protests in all 50 states. If I ever saw something getting set up for, let's just call it a false flag, for something to happen with a specific outcome and reason, it's this. Have you seen some of the so-called flyers? I mean, they didn't even bother taking the Antifa template out of it. It's so obvious, not like a MAGA thing. It's just, they're playing high stakes here.
Well, good luck with that. We'll see how that goes. The clip I wanted to play is GOP analysis. This is typical that what you'd hear if you watch Deutsche Welle, actually for the last 4 years.
Well, the history being made in the Capitol today, it's about the president, yes, but it's also about the existential crisis of the Republican Party. Will the GOP survive after Donald Trump is history? Well, we have two guests tonight, two political insiders to talk about that. I'm happy to welcome Reed Galen. He is with the Lincoln Project. That is a group of Republicans who joined forces during the presidential campaign against the re-election of Donald Trump. Reed joins us tonight from Park City, Utah, and from Washington, D.C. I'm happy to welcome Atiba Madjun. He is a political analyst, author, and former deputy executive director of the National Black Caucus of State Legislators. Gentlemen, it's good to have you on the program. I want us to start with the impeachment vote. We understand maybe 6 House Republicans plan to vote to impeach. There were no Republicans in the first impeachment vote last year. Reed, let me ask you, does this portend well for the GOP moving forward, or is this bad that you've only got 6 who are willing to vote for impeachment?
I think it unfortunately does not surprise me. I think that what we're seeing here is that the Trumpist wing of the Republican Party is ascendant. It has the energy. It has a lot of funding. And the establishment, unfortunately for them, spent so long saying so little or collaborating with this president that although I'm very happy to see that 6 Republicans did stand up, I think it's indicative of the fact that many Republicans do not want to cross Donald Trump, even as he's on his way out the door, even as he faces impeachment, and even as he, incited a riot and insurrection at the U.S. Capitol. So I don't think it portends well at all for the party.
Yeah, it's pretty much what the other guy says too. So,
and that message is the same around the world, as we know. European press wakes up. Actually, they're at work. They just have to wait a few hours. And here's the early 5 a.m. New York Times. Let's just copy and paste it. I'll translate it. You use Google Translate. It's even better. It's copy paste.
Well, I have another one. This is the impeachment rundown of France 24, a few countries away.
Donald Trump has become the first U.S. president to be impeached twice, with 10 Republican lawmakers joining the Democrats in the House of Representatives in backing the move. The decision made exactly a week after a pro-Trump mob stormed Congress as it was confirming Joe Biden's electoral victory. The violent assault on the heart of U.S. democracy led to the deaths of 5 people, including a police officer. For more details, here's Katavan Gorgistani, France 24's Washington correspondent.
Well, it means that indeed there is some bipartisan support for this impeachment process, much more than there was last time around. And so we saw these 10 Republicans breaking ranks and siding with the Democrats, including the number 3 Republican in the House, Liz Cheney. And going forward, we're going to have to see if that holds true also in the Senate. And you have some early indication that there is a possibility that we're going to see several Republican senators vote to convict Donald Trump after that. Mitch McConnell said that while he's not going to bring back the Senate in session before it is supposed to come back to Washington on January 19th, he is leaving the door open by saying that he doesn't know yet where he'll fall on his vote on this impeachment process. He has also, according to several U.S. media reports, said that he will not be whipping those votes, those Republican votes, leaving Republican senators to vote their conscience. We are expecting maybe a few Republicans to break ranks. Whether there will be enough Republicans joining Democrats to convict the president, that is a whole other question. What we know for sure is that Donald Trump will already be out of office once that Senate trial begins. But the Democrats are intent on going forward with it, because if there is a vote to convict Donald Trump, even if he's out of office, that could lead to another vote, this time with just a simple majority, which could ban the president from ever running for office again.
And that would be the point.
And that would be what you said weeks ago, and I think that would be the point, but they're not going to get that far. And I want to clear up a couple of things. The reports over the last few days about Mitch McConnell thinks it's great, he should be impeached.
Yeah, you put this in the newsletter. That was good.
It was bull crap. What McConnell was saying was he kind of welcomed it, but I believe he welcomed it for leverage in 2022 so they can hammer the Democrats with it, because they're not going to get this done. It looks as though 6 Republicans might vote for impeachment in the Senate.
Yeah.
They need 17 people to bail on the party and vote for They need 17 for this to go through. They're not going to get 17. They're going to get about 7. And again, I think McConnell's kind of let the floodgates open, because the idea is to expose these people.
Yes, it's all part of the plan.
I think it is.
Trust the plan.
So it's to expect
you walk
indictments.
No, wait, you walk right into it. Now I got to pick it up. You walk right into it.
Well, let me just finish with the numbers.
All right.
So you need 17 of the Republicans to join sides with the Democrats to get this impeachment to go through so they can have that second, vote to condemn him so he can't run again. They're not going to get 17. They're going to get about 7 or 8. And it's the usual suspects. Romney, right at the top of the list. That guy, what a great Republican he is.
Oh, yeah.
And Ben Sass will be another one. And they always have Murkowski, and they always list Murkowski and that woman from Maine, I think, Collins.
Yeah, Collins.
And they're always listed at the beginning, but they never follow through. They probably won't vote that way. It's just going to be a fiasco. It's a waste of time, and the whole thing is just going down the tubes for them, it seems to me, and it's just a setup. But I could be wrong. I could be talking 10,000 indictments.
No, you are. You are. And something happened yesterday, an event that I'm so happy took place because it will give you, my colleague John C. Dvorak, insight into what I have been listening to since months before the election from multiple people, really 3 who have just always given me good insights and information, and they are intelligence community linked. And this is not about the theory itself, although there's a little bit of it. Just 2 quick clips, under a minute. And I'll just tell you right now, there's going to be a coup, and Donald Trump will be inaugurated president, and they're going to arrest all of these people. Now, that's just in a very short order. That is what is happening. And part of this coup that has been set up includes pushing everything. And without a doubt, what we've seen is a very good exposure. They've done a great job of doing it to themselves, exposing the pharmaceuticals. The media has completely fallen flat. And many, many politicians and other douchebags galore. We've kind of all seen, everyone's shown their color by now. Yeah. So Steve Pachenik, hold on. I know, I'm not, just open your mind. This is not about what may or may not happen. I want you to hear what I have been hearing for months and the veracity, because that's why I kept saying, look, I don't see any of this stuff happening. I've seen no Kraken. I've seen no thousands of sealed indictments. I am certainly disappointed in all of that because these people would talk to me in the following manner. And this is what happened yesterday. Steve Pachenik went on InfoWars and laid down this plan as to what is going to happen. It was too crazy for Alex Jones, John. It was too crazy for Alex Jones. So this is newsworthy what is taking place. Listen to this.
About past years, we're not talking about past weeks. We're talking about the next few days and where we are right now. Now, I know you are not informed, and I'm telling you this. Either one of us is wrong, but I'm not wrong.
Well, let me say this. I mean, you can certainly get people thinking they're upside down when they're standing straight. I mean, you were the only guy that got the Camp David Accords through that nobody thought could happen. I mean, you've definitely done some psychological operations. But I'm just telling you, in 7 days, Pachenik, tell us who's going to be the president and what's about to happen.
7 days. Let me repeat it again, Jones. It's going to be Trump. It will not be Biden. Biden's people will be arrested. There will be people who will be arrested. Pelosi, Biden, Schumer. That's what's going to happen. And if I'm wrong, fine. Don't put me on your show. If I'm right, what else are you going to do? The point of fact is either you want to believe me or not. I don't particularly care what most people say or don't say.
Now, Steve Pachenik is either completely right or this is some version of implosion and self-harm that is I've never witnessed before.
Is it possible that it's a COINTELPRO operation run aimed targeting him?
Targeting Pachenik?
Yeah.
Yeah, because that would, yes, that is a third option. So it's either A, true, B, some weird psychological self-implosion and self-harm mission, or to take him out for once and for all. One more clip, same lengths, very short, of what is going to happen. And I've never heard Pachenik say, Jones, I've never heard him say that.
I know. I heard that too. He said, it's like we're arguing about something, which we do, and then I all of a sudden say Curry.
That would be weird.
I mean, we've had a number of arguments on this show, but I've never done that.
And I've never said Dvorak.
Hey, Dvorak.
Hey, Dvorak. No. And we argue.
I think we should do that.
Now that I think about it, yeah, it's a good idea.
Like you saw the Q guys going to the Capitol with zip ties. They thought they were on a secret mission to arrest people.
Alex, quiet down a bit. You've never been in a military coup.
Another thing I'm going to try on you. Dvorak, quiet down a little bit.
Oh, you've done that.
I don't think I've said it like that. I've certainly never combined the two. Dvorak, quiet now.
Never been in a military coup. You do not understand what that means. You do not understand how quickly we work and how long we've been preparing for this. When I told you months ago that we were involved in this and we were taking over all the elements of the political system because we could not trust the Mitt Romneys, the governors, the senators, the judges. You're talking about when I said to you years ago, and you still don't remember, John Roberts, the Supreme Court justice, has been indicted. He was corrupt at the time that he made the Obama case into a tax. He then went to Malta. He was paid off. He will be arrested. You're talking about Obama's people, where I said repeatedly he was a CIA operative. There was nothing about him that was real.
So, yeah, I think you nailed it.
This was a great one. I would have loved to have seen that.
Oh, my goodness. And it's 45 minutes.
I would watch the whole thing.
Yeah, you should.
Because of its entertainment value.
It was some of the most riveting video I've ever watched. And you picked up on it immediately. Pachenik was in Alex Jones's face. And I'm like, wow. Because that's what I've been hearing. Not just from him, from others. That veracity. Like, this is really happening, Curry. It's really happening. Curry.
Now, I want to play something similar. I'm not the same, but this is interesting, too. This is from Jeff Rentz's podcast.
Uh-huh. Yeah, he's up there.
And it's just, which is a well-known right-wing truther podcast. There's just a little.
Hold on. Just for the term's sake, we accuse people of using terms incorrectly. A truther does he only talk about 9/11? Because that's what a truther podcast is.
No, they don't. It's just a general. It's like our show if we were big gas bags.
Okay. All right.
There's a lot of those shows out there if you haven't noticed.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have clips, they don't have background, they don't have the
They say
right
I
stories.
think they say I think a lot.
I think
Sir, I think a lot. I think
they say that a lot. Yes.
I think yeah.
But there was a little gem. There's a little gem in here that, and I don't know if you can pick it up, but as soon as I heard it, I said, oh. And it has a little bit to do with what you just played.
But it's just, however you look at it, Trump is guilty of creating incredible false hopes in people, and that he is something.
Oh, he's played us like yo-yos for 4 years.
Yeah. To that degree, but there are reasons why people give money to unbelievably phony televangelists like Jim and Tammy Baker, Jimmy Swaggart, people like that.
Okay. Now, what was in there was, this is part of the stages of grief.
Yeah.
And it's the anger, and it's the irked by the fact that Trump, and if you go and start you can make a laundry list, anyone can. Mm-hmm. Trump promised the wall is going to be built by Mexico. He's going to do this. There was all the
How about drain the swamp? That was the one. Drain the swamp.
Drain the swamp and all the Q stuff, which seemed to be working with, which I think was creating a lot of false hope. The Joe DeGenevas out there with their 10,000 sealed indictments coming on over and over and over again. Bill Barr was going to come in to do something. Jeff Sessions when he first Durham, yeah, the Durham. That's all these things were brought in by the truckload. You know, Trump did this and he did that, and all you got was a bunch of books written about Trump being a douchebag, and it just there was nothing. I mean, the stuff that he accomplished, I think, was major, and I wrote it up in one of those Substack columns about Trump in 2020, which includes, and I think this is not trivial. He did make us aware of the immigration problem. And nobody was talking about it until he showed up. Mm-hmm. And he
China,
made us more than aware of the China. The China thing is the big deal.
Yeah.
And it's a bigger deal than anyone thinks, and no one can ignore it from forevermore. And everything else, and he also propped up the economy pretty well.
Yeah. Propping
which was pulled out from under him by COVID, and it was not mishandled the way Biden thinks, but it was just mishandled. But it's got nothing to do with Trump. So he accomplished the major things, and it changed the way the Republicans think about things. But it was a lot of false promises. And I think the Rents and his buddy David, I can't remember his name, they were saying it was 4 years of, 10,000 sealed indictments. We talked about it ourselves.
There's one more piece that is not told that widely that I just want to share, because it's going to be the last time I can ever do this. I mean, once all of this doesn't happen, then, there's my career in the toilet. When am I going to go back to legislation? Because I can't rely on any contacts I've built up. But the second piece
unreliable. This is, by the way, the same thing with the producers who send us bad material.
It happens. Yeah, it happens. So the second part is about China, and because I'm just telling you the story because I have it memorized. It's easy. I've heard it enough times. So China is going to be blamed for a lot of the problems, from the coronavirus to the Biden crime family. And because it is a military coup, what I've heard is there will be certain strikes on China, which Pachenik is, I'm again just telling you what I heard, is advising against. But check this. The target would be the Three Rivers Dam, for two reasons. One, for the nuclear weapons development that is taking place underneath the Three Rivers Dam in the secret caves, and the testing on Uyghurs is also taking place there. But the best thing is the attack will be rods from God, which are telephone pole sized tungsten rods that they shoot from space, and they have no warhead, but they hit with such veracity, and they're so hot from re-entering the atmosphere that they do a lot of damage, but no nuclear fallout, etc. The rods from God are coming.
Wow.
It's good, isn't it?
This is good stuff.
I know. Now, yes. The rods from God has been talked about for a long time. It's just a science fiction idea it would work. Somebody also said you could send a refrigerator down and pretty much do the same damage. Yeah, but it's not as cool. Now, here's a fridge. Rods from God has a better sound and look than a fridge.
Yeah,
I'm going to kill you, CCP, with a fridge. Yeah.
Well, I don't know what this guy's going to be.
I know.
I don't know. I mean, I feel bad about this because Pachenik's always had good material.
You can't say it's not.
In hindsight,
it's still good. It's still good material.
Well, it's still good material, but now it's just pure science fiction.
Yeah. But I am just mentally preparing for the case in case it's true. That's all. I have I have to tell my wife, she's like, you're hanging on by your fingernails. I said, no, I'm not. I'm really not. I'm really
on
really
her
okay.
Team here.
Shut up, you.
Shut up, Dvorak.
Shut up, Dvorak. I probably have said that. For which I repent.
Yeah, you're going to have to repent.
I'm going to have to repent on a lot.
But we'll wait until after Biden in an empty stadium goes up and takes the oath of office. And now they're saying they don't want, one of the reasons they're blocking everybody because they don't want him being booed. I don't know if you heard that one.
No. I thought they were doing it virtual no matter what. They don't want to have anybody
there because they don't want to hear a bunch of people booing him.
I still think my prediction that we'll have 2 inaugurations could possibly happen. That's just how nutty it is.
Yeah,
it could happen.
Well, they did have 2 you can say that it's not a new idea because they did that with Obama and the second Obama.
That's right. They had a second swearing
in. 2 Bidens for all we know. If the guy gets real lively, you'll know the reason why. So here's a PBS.
Who's the crackpot now?
I'm just throwing it out there. But here's play this. This is a PBS. This is a PBS analyst with some assumptions about the Trump and the future.
Cynthia Miller, Idris, help me understand the conversation that has been had around the president's rhetoric. We saw Twitter and Facebook have taken down specific the president's ability to use those platforms, arguing that he himself was inciting violence. How true do you think that is? Do you, as many have, lay some of the responsibility for Wednesday at the feet of the president?
I do. I think that not just the incitement of violence in this particular case, but I think what we have seen for several years now has been a mainstreaming and a normalization of extremist ideas and a lot of dog whistle kinds of calls like the stand back, stand by statement that even if the intent isn't there, it's received, the way it's received, the impact, it has a lot of risk and danger attached to it in terms of the far right mobilizing online and feeling like they've been legitimated. And so what we're seeing now is, the very people, not just the president, but other elected officials, the very people who are supposed to be trusted sources of information, helping to create and propagate a disinformation landscape that says this election is invalid, that there's been mass voter fraud, and really compelling these people to act.
Well, that last bit is really, in a nutshell, the belief that there is, that because of their hacking of the media, they've been able to propagate these lies, even though it seems highly unlikely. But just in case, let's freeze everybody's account and let's knock them off, and let's make sure we put the fear of God into anybody trying to spread this message. Along those lines.
Well, that's the way the show started with that. It was your first anecdote about poor Ben Shapiro.
Yeah. So listen to this: the National Association of Realtors have now changed their bylaws to condemn hate speech by any of their 1.4 million members, and they are going to do pamphlets and materials that will be handed out through real estate. I guess they're going to do an awareness campaign with a special number to call if you are, for instance, house shopping and you think that your realtor used some hate speech about something, then you can go and fink on them.
Oh, the fink line.
And just imagine, a realtor has to talk about locations, gentrification, neighborhoods. It's real easy in today's world to say something that could sound racist.
Well, here's to take it to the real level here. A realtor is a salesperson.
Mm-hmm.
Salespeople say what they have to say to get the sale. That's what they do.
I can't believe he said master bedroom.
Yeah. You just nailed it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can think on this real estate guy say, well, here's the master bedroom where you use the wrong pronoun.
Oh my goodness!
She.
A his and her bathroom. A Jack and Jill. Oh my! It's going to come down to that.
No, it's coming down to that.
It's going to be great.
It's lovely.
It's going to be so much fun. I had a couple more.
Okay. Well, let me get a couple more of these. Here's Taylor Green on. Now, this is a Newsmax.
Yeah, my favorite channel.
Which is like the amateur hour.
Remember, they fell apart. They fell apart during the Capitol kerfuffle.
They didn't know what
they fell apart. They didn't know what.
Well,
to
here's
do
something
themselves.
where they're trying to resolve something or other with this interview with the Taylor Green.
People, we have to make sure that our leaders are held accountable. We cannot have a president of the United States that is willing to abuse the power of the office of the presidency and be easily bought off by foreign governments, foreign Chinese energy companies, Ukrainian energy companies. So on January 21st, I will be filing articles of impeachment on Joe Biden.
Wow. Articles of impeachment on Joe Biden on his first full day as president.
I'm looking at Hunter Biden right now, so we're talking
Impeach
about
him
Joe.
too.
Obviously, we know Hunter's got issues as well. How is that going to work? You are a freshman. You're in the minority. What will happen next? Is this symbolic, or can you really do something about this?
Well, like I said, I'm a big believer in having people in office that are actually willing to do the job. And I can't imagine people in this country being so fearful of a future of a Biden presidency that they may be willing to commit violence like they did in the Capitol here in Washington, D.C. We cannot have that. I do not condone that violence. The American people need hope.
You know, it's interesting. A producer sent me a clip. It was 39 seconds, but it had that pertinent bit in there about Biden's impeachment filing on the 21st. And I couldn't play it because the producer just sent me this. I don't know who it was. I have no idea who it was. I didn't know the source.
Yeah, bad.
I'm saying it's so people know they can do better. I'm sorry.
It's one of these young women. I had one earlier in the show, Lauren.
Yeah.
That young Republican women that, and they made a big fuss when a couple of rounds ago when the Democrats put all these women in, and the Republicans can't get any women. So, okay, we got some women. Let's put these gals in. Let's see what they do. They're kick-ass.
I was
give a shit.
Yeah.
They're just in there, and
these are all American
really
women.
Nasty.
These are all American women. You're right.
These are the tough chicks.
Yes. And that's when you played the other one earlier. I thought you were referring to her because I knew it was someone from Congress. But yeah,
this is a different one.
They are definitely they are tough. I like it. More tough women.
They say bull crap.
Oh, that's why you're all jitty for her.
Jacked up.
You are.
Well, here's a little list, by the way. Here's a little list. I forgot this clip. I should have played it earlier. This is the 23-second election business backlash on PBS.
Marriott, Dow, and the Blue Cross Blue Shield Association, among others, announced they would halt donations to any lawmaker who voted against certifying the Electoral College results. Ford and Microsoft will suspend all political donations until they review the events of last week. And the payment company Stripe said it will no longer process payments for the president's campaign website.
Yeah. Now this is part of the cancel. One of the Republicans, his insurance company dropped him. I mean,
I didn't know that.
So
these people need to be put on a list.
But here's my question. Here's my question: how is this okay, but refusing to bake a cake for a gay wedding is not okay?
Yeah. Oh no, that's the question.
All ideology. It's all ideology. I think you can say it's ideology. You can look at it and say it's hate, but it seems to be ideology, just different views of opinion. But for that reason, you're not going to insure someone. The airlines are already saying that.
They need to be put. What's the name of that operation that Kid put together, where it's just a list of people that should be,
Schindler's List.
No. There should be, somebody should put together the same, get back to work. Let's just, they're saying, well, these guys are lazy Republicans. Let's put the list together of target companies that are doing this and don't do business with them. If half the country, there's a lot of people that voted for Trump, and there's a lot of people that didn't vote for Trump that don't like this.
Yes. And I think we will see the issue right now is it's a little bit in flux. Since there's no way to start a viral campaign, viral campaigns are squashed immediately. So there needs to be some code there needs to be a way to say, hey, smash your iPhone. And that's just because Tim Cook's iPhone-y. That's just my personal beef. But Amazon, don't order from Amazon. There's all kinds of you can just go online and see how many companies have virtue signaled about this. And in the infamous words of Magic Johnson, Republicans buy Nikes too.
Yes, I think that's a great quote. And I should mention the one virtue signaling trick that was, if you listen to that story closely, at the very end, they mentioned Ford and Microsoft.
Mm-hmm.
They're just going to stop political donations until they research this more. So it's not, that is just virtue signaling nonsense. But I thought it was creative. They got their name in.
Yeah. Yeah. That's how you want to do it. You want it.
they got their name in, but you can't say, well, I'm not going to buy it for because they're not going after Trump or anything. They're going to look into it, which makes them look reasonable.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I do have one last clip in this whole thing. This is a short clip, another 23-second clip. This is Yamiche.
I've noticed when Yamiche comes on MSNBC, this is probably from PBS, she's gotten real loose, and I think she's going a little bit beyond her journalistic endeavors and how she speaks about things.
Well,
she's coming on
I
Hinge.
think she's fishing because I think she's a short-term. She shouldn't be on PBS. She's not. She hasn't got the.
She's trying to hip it up a bit. Her agent called. Listen, Yamiche. Yamiche, baby, how you doing? Listen, it's Javi. Listen, okay, the PBS, they're not really for you. You're hip, you're young. It's like moving a little bit with the MSNBC crowd. Come on, just smooth up a little bit to Rachel.
There was a PBS, it's on PBS, Frontline, which is always entertaining reporting.
Yeah.
And Frontline did a special on Alex Jones.
Oh, this is with Megyn Kelly, you mean? Or it's a new one?
No, this is a pretty old one. I don't know if she was on this that much, but Yamiche was.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Yamiche was, and it was a hit piece against Alex Jones and how he rose and fall. He got it full of himself, and then they kicked him off everything. But it's a very entertaining piece to watch. And Yamiche is on there. She crops up. I think she ruined the piece completely. She was on a couple of times. And she's going on about a lot of this had to do with Alex Jones and the way he exploited 9/11 and some of the other. And he took credit for the truther movement and some of these other things. She comes on and starts yakking about 9/11 as if she was either there or some knowledge of it.
She found the passport.
She was talking about one thing about 9/11. So I looked into her age. She was in the 8th grade.
Yeah, there you go.
When 9/11 happened.
Mm-hmm.
And so she's talking like she knows about 9/11 from she was in the 8th grade? Was she in Manhattan? I mean, it was bull crap that they put her on there. And I think they ruined the whole, I think their credibility took a hit, personally. Because I was very skeptical after that, whether the report was even any good. But they did have a lot of good stuff in there. But Yamiche, here's Yamiche. I want you to try to do the math on what Yamiche has to say about how they're going to handle this impeachment.
President-elect Biden wants to see President Trump held accountable, but he doesn't want to see his legislative agenda derailed. So there are talks now that President-elect Biden has said he's talking to members of Congress to try to bifurcate the impeachment process so that half a day would be spent on impeachment, half a day spent on confirming his cabinet secretaries, and time spent on trying to pass that COVID relief bill that Joe Biden wants to pass as soon as he gets into office.
That was definitely her PBS voice.
Now, yes. So you have a half and a half.
And a half.
And what?
Another half.
There's another half? How many halves are there in the day?
Yamiche. Now, I will say something about her age. I've been very busy with Podcasting 2.0, and we're figuring out how to do a version of value for value where you're receiving MP3 and you're listening to it, and simultaneously you're sending back little bits of money in the form of Satoshis, which is a small pieces of Bitcoin. So I've been working with a lot of the people in the Bitcoin here it comes community, and as it turns out, Austin is somehow kind of a mini crypto capital. We have a lot of Bitcoin related companies here. I had no idea, but I kind of fallen into it. Now, here's what is interesting to me. Pretty much everybody is a millennial, and it's male. I have yet to meet a woman, I think, in any of these meetups or anything. And they're between 26 and 30 years old. And Sir Gene calls them children with beards. And they're all good looking. They're well dressed, whatever their vibe is. But to a T, here's why they're doing this. I just thought this was interesting. They feel they have been so cheated. They were born, and it was during the Gulf War. And country. And then we had the Great Depression. And now we have the Rona. And they are all so removed. And they're not political at all. Don't give a shit one way or the other. Who's the president? They believe Bitcoin is God and it will save them because saving little bits of Bitcoin will increase in value over time. And it was just eye-opening to me and gave me a much better understanding because they're on a mission. And it's real. It's a real mission. And because they're on a mission, I think it's going to be stopped every single way possible, such as the European Central Bank, where Fifi Lagarde now reigns the roost.
It is a speculative. It's a speculative asset by any account. I mean, when you look at the most recent developments upward and now the most recent downward trend, for those who had assumed that it might turn into a currency. Terribly sorry, but this is an asset, and it's a highly speculative asset, which has conducted some funny business and some interesting and totally reprehensible money laundering activity. I think that there are criminal investigations that have taken place that I'm sure will continue to take place that demonstrate it very clearly. And there has to be regulations, and this has to be applied and agreed upon. It's a matter that needs to be agreed at a global level. Because, if there is an escape, that escape will be used. So I think it needs to be. If anything, it shows that global cooperation, multilateral action is absolutely needed. Whether it's initiated by the G7, moved into the G20, and then enlarged, but it's something that needs to be addressed. And FATF is clearly an organization that has expanded in that respect.
I think they're definitely going to shut down all kinds of ways for turning your euros into Bitcoin or the other way around. And I feel bad. I feel bad for these young people because they really, truly believe there's only two ways forward. One is the Bitcoin life. The other one is exemplified by the most recent Experian Boost commercial. Now, Experian is a credit company. They have very much like Credit Karma. They have a credit rating, so you sign up for their app, and your credit rating will determine how much credit they will give you, and they will offer you financial products. So instead of teaching you how to save or do anything smart, they are going to tell you to behave properly so that we feel that you're a good person, and we'll give you more credit that you can borrow against. And it's not even a FICO score. It's their own made-up number. And we're kind of glossing over it, but there's an entire generation of young people who think this is a good idea.
Now there's a new way Experian Boost can raise your credit scores.
Who'd have thought paying for my streaming services would help boost my credit score?
My FICO score just went up 17 points with Experian Boost. Heck yeah!
I just raised my credit score 13 points with Experian Boost.
I stream shows all the time, and now it's helping me boost my credit score. That's awesome. I can't believe paying for streaming services is going to help me boost my credit score.
Now paying for streaming can boost your credit scores. Download the Experian app now.
So you are intended to link your Netflix
this is
account?
Idiotic what you just played.
Oh, it's worse than that. I believe, and I said it, that this is just phase one. Phase two will be either watch this to increase your score, which is money in the bank. This is how people are being thought. Or
I like that.
Or
let's get on the other side of that one.
I can't believe you watched that. Your score just went down. You watched the wrong thing. You watched the Trump documentary. Bad. This is the beginning, and it's a modification. It's an American system. This is the beginning of the social credit score. It's how it works. You're getting benefits, and we're so stupid. Well, actually, we're not so stupid. In China, they take away your benefits, so you can't fly. And here we're doing it easily. Like, hey, we'll give you this cool. Look, your score went up. You increased. You're better than you were minutes ago. You're number one. Want to buy something? We got credit for you. So while the young men I've seen in Austin, the crypto capital of the world, may be incorrect, I don't know. I'm on board with them. I sure hope they're right and not this other. I mean, this is dystopian. This is very, very bad. Linking up here.
So you hope they're right and Christine Lagarde is wrong?
You think?
Would you bet? Would you bet that Christine Lagarde would lose and they'd win?
I will take that bet over time. Yes, and I have to because I can't. Otherwise, I'm not a maxi. I'm not a full Bitcoiner. I have to believe in the long run, Bitcoin will win against Lagarde specifically.
Yeah. Good.
And that's my reports.
They're saying that all hell is going to break loose and you're going to need a Bitcoin.
And with that, I thank you for your courage and say in the morning to you, the man who put the C in credit score, John C. Dvorak.
Well, let me get my device out.
Oh, your device.
In the morning to you, Mr. Adam Curry. Also in the morning, all ships at sea. Boots on the ground, feet in the air, subs in the water, and all the dames and knights out there.
Yes, in the morning to our trolls. Our trolls are available for you at noagendastream.com. And we now have since Flash expired, we have a regular HTML5 player.
What the hell was that all about?
Oh, I knew it was going to happen. You didn't know it? You didn't know that Flash was going to expire?
No, I knew about it because they kept flashing it on half of the things I have that are, functional.
On your homepage.
Hey, by the way, after January, you're fucked.
That's exactly what the warning was. The trolls are hanging out at noagendastream.com. Now, when I say trolls, it's because it's a chat room, and it's not filled with people who chat. It's trolls. And you may feel like a troll. You may want to know what it's like to be one. You may want to experience trollness. What?
I think you're glossing over this, my complaint. This Adobe, after decades of making us use Flash, all of a sudden they say,
Well, not all of a sudden. This was planned a year in advance.
Okay, yeah, it's been for 6 months to a year they've been saying this.
Yeah.
But it's beside the point. They say, and I would think that the old Flash install would still work, but no. Apparently it's always been calling home constantly. Hey,
John.
So it calls home, doesn't work because the home says, no, you can't work anymore. I'm just saying for years and years and years, the Adobe kept, you got to upgrade Flash. By the way, do you want McAfee? You want to upgrade Flash? Do you want McAfee? And now they just pull the plug with no remorse, no regret, no repentance.
I understand you're upset that Flash no longer works on your MySpace page. I understand the problem. Things do go away. Hello, GeoCities. Hello, Alta Vista. Yeah, things go away. How about that Microsoft? What was it? Nightlight, Superlight. They had a Flash alternative. What was that?
I don't know.
Silverlight.
Oh, Silverlight. That was short-lived.
Hey, John, you wrote the book on OS2. Come on, stuff goes away. I personally loved OS2. I knew how to.
OS2 is great.
I could do Rex. I had a little Rex in me.
Oh, yeah, I bet you do. You do have a little Rex in you. I can see that. You're the dog named Rex.
There we are. All right, hands up, trolls. Let's see how many we got in the room. We have 2,068 trolls. Good to have you here on board for this Thursday. Now, you can listen to the show live when you're at the troll room. It's free to join, have fun, troll along, do whatever you want, and ask anyone in there or Doug for an invite to noagendasocial.com, which is our federated social media site. It's very popular. I have seen my Twitter followers go down by the thousands, presumably people closing their accounts. And we have seen, again, an uptick on noagendasocial.com. Big shout out to Erner, who's running that from his cave. Even in the midst of moving, he continues to run everything. Love him for that. And you should join. That's where we have real conversations, because we don't have algorithms to mess you up and make you. And when there's arguments, the arguments just kind of go away. They scroll off. They don't come back. That's the main secret. If it scrolls off, no one's going to scroll down that far, and then it just kind of goes away. Unless you're actively involved, which is your own fault.
I have a suggestion.
Yeah, please.
Since somebody mentioned an amount of space, I think that I'm just suggesting this. There's no reason to keep posts more than 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
I think they should be expunged.
I believe we do an expungal periodic. I will find out. And we have to. People have no idea.
Otherwise, you'd have just a bunch of archives that would just be building up a dead space.
It's terabytes. It was already terabytes when I was running it years ago. It's an unbelievable amount of data. People don't appreciate that. It's an unbelievable amount of data. And I'm sure we expunge, and we should probably post that so people know. So Aaron will let us know. But go ahead and join noagendasocial.com. It's really and a big in the morning to what turns out to be such a thought-provoking, not even thought-provoking, just an image that hit home. People love this immediately. You championed it, and rightfully so. Tanta Nail brought us the artwork for episode 1311. We titled that one Woke Kindergarten. And it was the Twitter bird as Democrat with the blue and the stars with the legs of the, is that the donkey? Yeah. The red donkey. It was split in half. It was just, the whole thing was good. And I love the font that she used for No Agenda in our names. Good. It was really fantastic. And I have
There's a couple of pieces where I should remind people. I want to remind artists, don't use stolen images. And unless I'm told otherwise, the red bird with the communist scythe, hammer and sickle
is verboten now.
It's stolen.
Oh.
Unless you did it someplace. Because I saw a collection of images that were put together by somebody else. And maybe they stole it. But it wasn't with the No Agenda logo. It was just standalone. So that's a possibility.
Okay. Don't do that.
So don't do that.
It's embarrassing to the show when it happens, and it has.
Yeah, because it was a nice piece, and you use it. The other thing is, anyone who uses images that are repulsive, and I'm looking at the piece next to it by Yessel Hirsch, or whatever his name is. I get to look at it up. Yessel Hirsch.
Yeah, it's a zombie.
Yeah, that. Any pictures that are repulsive, I'll just nix. They're not happening. You don't want to, and here's the thinking here. You don't want an association between the show and something repulsive, because then you start associating the show with repulsive. It's stupid.
And we'd rather have you associate the show with jobs.
Anything. But the point is, by the way, everything else on this image was, especially the logos and the type font, everything's fine. But the image itself is repulsive.
Woo!
So and that's why I don't like the coronavirus thing. It's just a repulsive image. So repulsive images do not get picked ever. Don't bother sending them in.
You're censoring, man.
I am censoring. That's what art directors do, and that's what we are. 2 art directors. For 5 minutes a day, we're art directors. There's a lot of other art
of truth to that.
You hated.
What was that?
The Nick the Rat piece with the fire sale garden.
Did I hate? Did I say I hate it? Did I say that?
Yeah.
No, I don't think so. I don't even see it. Where is it? The fire sale.
It's right above the piece we picked.
Yeah.
I kind of liked it because I thought it was cute. It was an Olive Garden kind of reference.
Yes. And I did not hate it. I said I felt it just didn't come across. Now, see, the part that is tough.
I'll give you the quote. Is what you said. You said, "I don't get Olive Garden out of that picture."
Yes, exactly. And let me explain. When we're looking at the page, if you mouse over, it tells you who made it and it gives you a title. I try to never mouse over because I looked at it, I would not have gotten Olive Garden out of that unless I had seen the title. So I just feel that we're fooling ourselves because we have to think like people looking at this. And I just don't think everyone would say, "Oh, that's funny. That's Olive Garden on fire with a coupon you cut out." No.
Yeah.
Well,
I do the same thing you do. I did not look at the title before I made the assumption.
And you saw it. Well, I don't eat at Olive Garden, so that's why
I don't either. But it's beside the point.
Okay.
Actually, I did eat at Olive Garden once.
And thank you, Dreb Scott, for using our podcasting 2.0 and putting all those images in the chapter, rotating while we were talking about it. It's amazing. It's amazing. So we thank Tanta Nail, who was out of the gate. Is that now 2 so far this year?
No, it was her competitor, the other.
I thought Tanta Nail had one.
No, she's had a number of
Lady
them,
J?
not 2 in a row.
Lady J got one this year? Is that who I'm thinking of? Yeah, no, I don't know. I'm sure someone will correct us on noagendasocial.com. But thank you very much, Tanta Nail. We appreciate that's a great amount of value. It's extremely important. And that's exactly how it fits in our model. Time, talent, or treasure, anything. If you get value of this show, give it back to us in one of those categories. And to keep us functioning on the air, we do need support, and we love highlighting our executive producers and associate executive producers because they came in with big numbers for episode 1312. And we start off with, was it Anonymous? Right off the bat.
Anonymous. $1,000 from Anonymous.
$1,000?
Donation.
Holy crap.
For the new night of the Roundtable on behalf of Dame Illuminatia. Peerage and Roundtable blessings soon.
Huh.
Okay.
So
not on the list. Probably, I guess, more information to come, I'm guessing.
Yeah. I mean, I saw the original donation as well, and that's literally what it said. So, okay. Well, thank you very much, Anonymous, and congratulations, Dame Illuminatia. Peerage and table blessings soon. We'll look forward to it.
So the knighting is in abeyance at the moment.
Yeah. On pause. Gary
Ferris or Fars, I think it's F-P-H-A-R-E-S. I don't know how you pronounce it, to be honest about it. $500 from San Diego. He sent a note in, handwritten. ITM and Happy New Year, fellas. With this donation, I passed the threshold of knighthood. I would like to be the title of Sir My Ass, Knight of Greasy Creek in southwest Missouri.
Sir My Ass.
I believe he's on the list.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like some Old Viscotti Imperial Stout at the round table, please. No jingles, no karma. And then he has a little accounting with the word bye.
That's the opposite of hi, guys.
Yeah, that's the end. You say hi, guys, then you say bye.
Here's a tip for all you producers out there. If you send me a link to a video, and I'm fine, you say, it's long. Usually that's a warning. It's long, but you'll love it. Just plenty of clips. So if you haven't put in time codes, I'm already thinking, all right. If it starts with either, hi, guys, it's an immediate deny. Or if it starts with ominous crescendoing music. Live. No, it's a pass. You got to give me time codes.
Time codes are important.
Yeah, they are.
Onward with Mark Drinkwater came in from New Zealand, $432. I got a note from his wife or girlfriend, I think it was his wife, Alice. And the note said, is this the right email to send a note to? And then there was no note.
That's the best. And you said yes. You replied and you said yes.
You could have put, I said, well, it's a little late because it was like late. And I guess I didn't encourage her to say, she was probably sleeping because of the time change. So I got nothing. So Mark, there's some surprise. It's a knighting of some sort for Mark. But again, this will be just like Anonymous up there. This will be in abeyance until I hear from Alice.
Just make sure he's not on the birthday list. No. It might have been a birthday. Well, anyway. So sometimes...
Right, she didn't say anything, but it's just the right address.
Slips through the cracks sometimes. Should I do this one, Femke?
Yes, please.
Femke van Bemmelen in Voorburg, 365.44. In the morning, John and Adam. Adam, please don't read my note with a Dutch accent. Save that for Rutte, the Prime Minister. All right, so I won't. Thank you both for the much-needed amygdala shrinkage during these crazy days. My truly wonderful and ruggedly handsome husband, Ramy, hit me in the mouth about a year ago. In honor of his upcoming birthday, Sunday, please accept this donation that will make him a knight. He shall be known as Sir Stinkfinger, the plague from The Hague. Okay. For the round table, he would like rijst met currysaus en kapucijners met spek, which is rice with curry sauce and capers with bacon. It's a Dutch delicacy.
Is that what that means? Because speck is actually a type of prosciutto.
Speck? Oh, really? Yeah, speck is bacon. Huh. Well, that's interesting.
Yeah.
The more you know.
It's like the high-end prosciutto.
Okay. Well, that's not... If you go to Holland and ask for speck and you're thinking you're going to get some high-end prosciutto, you're going to be disappointed.
You get bacon.
Bacon. No Agenda listeners that are into stoner metal, please look up his band Stitchfork on Facebag, which is facebook.com/Stitchforkband, Spotify or Bandcamp. And if you like it, let him know. He will love hearing from you. No Agenda gives our family many interesting perspectives to talk about and is keeping us even-keeled. This is much needed since our 3 human resources, 11, 13, and 14, are constantly bombarded with wokery by teachers and classmates. Here's some smart parents. Boots on the ground report. Our oldest daughter was shown a clip of the Dove commercial where a colored lady took off her shirt and magically turned into a white woman. The assignment was to you white, and white is better. That's crazy that I remember that campaign, and it wasn't intended that way.
How many years ago was it? You don't think they got any letters of complaint?
But they stopped that and they took it off the air, and it was years ago.
Yeah.
And it wasn't their intent. Anyway, the teacher offered a list of words to use in the letter, such as white supremacy. Our human resources looked up the video online and told the teacher, or our human resource looked up the video online and told the teacher that this was framing, because if you watch the entire commercial, you'll see the white woman turning into a colored woman as well. The teacher responded that it was racist anyway, but our daughter could tell that many of her classmates agreed that this was BS. We are so very proud of her. Yes, you should be, and you should be proud, parents. That's a No Agenda kid right there. NA kids. Wait a minute, let me watch the whole commercial, you douchebag. You're tricking me. Birthdays, please. Put Arwen on the birthday list for January 20th. She'll be 15. Remy's birthday will be January 16th, and he'll be 48. Can I get a double goat karma and a Trump jobs to help with my recruitment agency? Much love from the lowlands where the once courageous Dutch fighters of the sea now hide behind the curtains with their masks on. Femke from Voorburg. P.S. If the note's too long, you can leave the boots on the ground part out of it. No, that was that was the best part.
That was the part of the note you wanted to read.
We really like that piece. Thank you very much. And we've got your birthdays here on the list.
Jobs, 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 and jobs. Let's vote for jobs.
You've got karma.
Here's the double.
You've got karma.
Yeah, Aggie Latsis is next on the list from Fayetteville, Georgia, 333.33. I recall an attempted hit in the mouth by your longtime listener, Tony Cabrera, a few years ago, but it took a reminder from Joe Rogan for me to start listening.
Rogan donation.
I have not missed an episode since. Joe Rogan who?
Oh, boy.
Please.
Oh, boy.
Not good. We love Joe Rogan.
Yeah, we do.
Thank you for an amazing show. I like most of your listeners. It keeps me sane. My husband and I are from the former Soviet-occupied country, and this will be a round 2 of socialism for us. I guess.
You know how to do it.
I guess maybe it's following them around. I guess unlike most Americans, we will be prepared.
Yeah.
Keep up. Yes,
yeah,
you
right.
will.
Yeah.
Keep up the good work. Well, I'm prepared to because I live in California. Hopefully we can keep listening to you, even if the only way left will be via shortwave radio, like we used to do during Soviet times, listening to Voice of America from Washington, making sure our neighbors do not hear us. Headphones. I'm sure they were listening too. No jingles, no karma, Aggie.
Well, comrades, welcome. We are happy you are here.
Welcome, comrades. David Gomez in Holly Springs, North Carolina, 333.33.
Nice.
In the morning, please see my 33.33 donation, 33.33 as a follow-up to being called a douche by the anonymous Kansas-bound Googler in episode 1289. He hit me back in the mouth back in February. Recently, Mike Day and his smoking hot wife from Fuquay, Varuna, North Carolina, gave me and I'm sure I butchered that, gave me a birthday donation and a douchebag in episode 1310.
Oh, no.
Let this serve as the first of my repentance.
Ah, there it is.
For being that douche. Despite being El Jefe, I think, my friend Mike the Googler and a few others are all founders of a veteran-owned and U.S. manufactured surgical device and positioning company, Infinitus Medical Technologies. Infinitusmedical.com.
Rolls off the tongue.
Was it publicly traded? We are continuously blessed with a growing base of customers despite the safe harbor third-party firewalls and small niche businesses face in healthcare. No commodities here. Having robotic surgery, ask your surgeon if he uses our product. If not, why not? No products do what ours do. It's all about the processes, baby. Anywho's, John, thanks for your and Adam's guidance during these dark days. My amygdala is slowly shrinking, but my liver might be taking a beating. Would you please play a Jobs Karma so I may continue to grow a noodle gun jingle because it makes me laugh, and a F cancer from my colleague Kelly, who is currently in hospice after a long, courageous fight. Yours and your families are in our prayers. Special shout out to my nurse and anesthesiast, CRNA colleagues, and all the other doctors, nurses, and tireless caregivers working out their COVID or otherwise. Don't retire. God knows I can't. A reformed douche. David Gomez.
I'm gonna shoot you in the face with my noodle gun, you racist piece of shit. I got my pasta Glock locked and loaded.
Jobs, 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 and jobs. Let's vote for jobs.
You've got karma.
Guzpacho is next on the list from Syracuse, New York at $333.0. Respectfully, I have to disagree.
No.
According to KTLA's initial reporting, out of 52 arrests, there were 6 firearms recovered. More police reports have come out since then. Were these the only guns, all found by Magic City spanning gunmetal detectors, or is this a fairly random sample of the people who happened to be arrested? I think the phrase, "will be wild," was understood as a dog whistle by the whole bunch of preppers who showed up ready for Trump to say, all right, let's go get these crooks.
All right.
Your disagreement is noted.
Noted. Thank you. Guzpacho.
Anonymous in Charlotte, North Carolina, 333. Thank you for all that you do. Your work is priceless, but the shameless plug isn't. To NA job creators, I am an employee benefits consultant that exposes corruption in insurance. Email me at 333benefits@protonmail.com for a woker broker.
Woker broker. Nice, Anonymous.
I wonder what he would.
I don't know.
No, I send him a note. It's 333 benefits at Proton Mail. Matthew Wilson, $300. No jingles, no karma. We love it. Just giving 20s and singles. No Manning, no goat. Thought you guys could use some cash to stay afloat.
Oh, it rhymes. Thank you. That's a nice note. Thank you, Matthew.
A poem.
Nice.
Sir Belove in Plano, Texas, 24944, associate executive producer. Hey, guys.
Hey.
Jingles, prep, fisting nuts. I need another jobs karma. Give me the classic since TPP hasn't worked yet. Which is the information we need, by the way. Mm-hmm. I'll share it with my buddy Chris in Florida, who's currently a douchebag.
Oh.
Douchebag. Only because he's been looking for an IT managerial job for 2 years. Thank you for your courage, sir. Below.
Just go for it, John.
Sir
Tell
Below.
us your peeve about the fisting method of eating snacks on an airplane?
I see this on the airplane, and it's very annoying, and I think it will result in fights breaking out because it's just so annoying to watch. Guy takes his bag of peanuts, and he throws a pile of them into his palm of his hand, and then he makes a fist around the nuts. And then he shakes his fist to try to bring a nut to the little hole. Stop. To the little hole. And then he throws a nut in his mouth from his fist. Then he does it again. He shakes and throws and shakes and throws. It is annoying as hell to watch.
Jobs, 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 and jobs. Let's vote for jobs.
You've got karma.
A production notice. This is no longer classified as a jingle. That's an end of show mix. It's 46 seconds long. It's a little long for this. Unless someone wants to make an edit, then I'll be happy with it. It's too long.
Sir Darren O'Neill might want to do that. He's
Darren
in Mokina, Illinois, 229.76. He needs an F cancer. This donation of $229.76 is in honor of today being the 33rd anniversary of my first date with my spectacularly patient and beautiful wife, Kim, spelled with a Y. Health Karma works. I requested it for my mom's double bypass, and it has carried her through her bypass and subsequent colon cancer surgery and treatments. Wow. She's doing well. Please send out an F cancer for both my mom and also my cousin Kevin, who was recently diagnosed with tonsil cancer.
Wow, I've not heard of that.
I never heard of it either. This donation is also the VIG owed to both of you from donations. Ask JCD to be a guest of Sir Bemrose and mine on Grumpy Old Ben's, as he is by far the most requested guest our producers have asked for.
Well,
we'd love... Can I read that over? We'd love to discuss any and all tech topics with the original Cranky Geek. In the meantime, everyone can get caught up with my shows on grumpyoldbens.com and randomthoughts.com. Sorry for the shameless plug, but podcasting ain't easy. Thanks for keeping us all sane, Sir Darren.
And Darren, thank you, Darren. Darren does so much for the show, including
he's a workaholic. That guy,
the rock and roll pre-show, which he does before every show.
He's a multi-talented maniac.
He is. Yes, he is multi-talented. It's quite. Do we even know what he does in real life?
I think he's just on welfare.
And are you?
I'm sorry.
Are you printing something?
No, that's a jackhammer next door. Thank you very much for asking.
Oh, my God. It sounded like a...
You can pick it up. That's behind the mic. It's really too bad.
I'll tell you what I thought it was, which is why I thought it was a dot matrix printer. It sounded like... I'm like, you got to be kidding me.
It sounds a little bit like that.
You got to be kidding me. He's using a dot matrix printer.
You know, they still sell those things.
Oh, really? We should hook one up. Do print out one of those nude pictures in ASCII art.
In ASCII. Yeah, ASCII nudes.
Alt.ASCII.
Those were the days.
Alt.nudes.ASCII.
I got one note on Hunter Wumpus. How about that?
Hold on. I got to go.
You've got karma.
I'm going to make sure that blasts out to all of Darren's peeps. Here we go.
Yeah, I'm more annoyed by that noise than you are, believe me. MM comes in from Quesnel, BC, or Kesnel, I'm not sure how you pronounce it. It's up in BC, but it's over by Spuzum. 222.22. In the morning, Don Le Matin. This donation is in behalf of my boyfriend, Uehen. Oh. I'm not sure how you pronounce that. Uehen. He is one of your biggest fans and aspires to be a knight one day. He also talks about your podcast to anyone that might be interested in it.
Nice.
Good for him. This donation is his late birthday present. Happy birthday, Uhen, I'm guessing. Je t'aime. She loves him.
Je t'aime.
I'm guessing.
Qu'est-ce que tu l'as, je t'aime.
Him or she. I don't know. I don't have any idea what.
Now, it was Scandinavian. Does that mean it's a exec producer? What's 222 Scandinavian, Doug? Someone,
Doug.
Doug, what is 222.22 in Scandinavian in Scandinavian money? All right, we'll move on.
That would be in
someone
American
figures
money.
that
What
out.
does it become in
Yeah,
Canadian?
what is it Scandinavian money? Yeah. Daniel Reese.
Daniel Reese. Okay, I don't have a note from him. He's in Riverside, California, 21114. I don't have a note from Douglas Kuhlman in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. And there was no note for, there's a run of them here.
Here it is.
Fillmore, California, Jeff Medrazo. No note from him.
Hold on. 222.22 is 281.31, so it's not enough.
No, it doesn't make it.
Still great. She tems
Daniel, Douglas, and Jeff. And Jeff's in Fillmore, California. I wonder what that is. Kendra Lamott in East Haven, Connecticut. $200.08. And she starts off with your favorite. Hi, guys. I started listening in November when my brother told me about your show. Keep up the great work. Oh, by the way, please call out my brother Jay Lamott of Old Saybrook, Connecticut, as a douchebag. He's too cheap to donate.
Wow.
Signed, Kendra Lamott, East Haven, Connecticut, and all that's missing is bye. Peter Egan in Glenning Valley, New South Wales, $200. Pants, then shoes. No jingles, no karma. Sneaky. Okay. Anonymous in Jackson, Mississippi.
Yeah,
$200.
This is, now it says here, I will email you both directly. Keep my name anonymous. And I believe this is the email you and I were discussing briefly.
Oh, you think that show. One, there's that long email? I do have a.
Yeah, I do. Do you have a copy
the one that's
of that?
got secret information in it that he doesn't.
No, but if it is what I'm thinking it is, he starts off by saying, I've tried to sit down, or I'm trying to find it right now, and read this note several times, or write this note several times.
Yeah, this is the China. He's in China.
Yeah, is that the 773 words?
I don't know if it's that at the end or not.
The keeper counted him.
Oh, I don't know. It's long.
You want to just read a little bit from it?
Well, I mean, it's something that would be nice to reprint someplace, like on the Cosmic Weenie or something. It's a good note. This note it's not concise enough to. He just is lamenting the fact that if you live outside of U.S. media and social media for so long, it really opens your eyes to the evil of these groups. As an example of 2 weeks of no U.S. media, no social media, and admittedly no English language conversations about politics, I had more energy and was able to rapidly learn a new language, something I had failed at before. It was like my mind was constantly wasting time trying to make sense of the constant flow of conflicting and paradoxical statements. I think that's a valuable observation. Human beings cannot live in a paradox, and that feeling you get listening to politicians speak, that is a paradoxical warning. I believe I have an idea, and it's simple enough for anyone to do. Get a list of all state congressional officials, not those in D.C. Many of these people do not support what is happening in Washington. They will read their emails, and they will read their snail mail. Send them a simple request, and send this to everybody regardless of their party. I would like the state to amend all employment laws to prohibit any discrimination due to political affiliation or assumed affiliation. We would like the state to amend all employment laws to prohibit any inquiries regarding political affiliation or assumed affiliations. This would benefit everyone, he writes, including the people who see themselves in currently favorable groups. Groups shift, politics change, people never win if their livelihood can be impacted for simply existing. And it goes on with this complaint.
And we appreciate it. And we both read it.
Yeah.
773.
There was something at the end here.
Well, you look through that now.
Yeah, I'll just read these little bits. He says he'd like to get I'm the old fart, he says right there. He wants a prediction on 2022. And then after he's done, and then he wants you need to, something about this is not happening. I'm gonna answer for Adam.
Okay.
This is someone who's been out of it so long doesn't realize that Adam already did this.
Well,
he writes, after we are done with lockdowns and insanity, I think you need to offer a course for building an independent podcast network. Not an exit strategy. I could easily be the primer to get people back into building their own tech.
Yes. Thank you. Podcastindex.org. Join in the fun. Open
He's
for all.
doing it again.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a new version. Podcast is a pod show version 3.
Yeah, I don't think so. That's not what I'm doing. That's not what we're doing.
It doesn't have to be the same exact thing.
No, we're building. We have.
And he wants a jingle. I'm always going for my favorite, which is the share a secret if you can find it.
Share a secret. It's not tell a secret. Let's hold hands and tell a secret, I think. Yes. That's why I always get it wrong.
Oh, there's no winning. We don't like to foster a competitive atmosphere, but we laugh a lot. Now everyone hug and share a secret.
Oh, share a secret, but the title is tell a secret. Okay. Got it.
Then that's where we're headed. That clip.
That's it.
We're right back on track.
Eric Sinkmeyer from Michigan, Fort Gratiot. In the morning from Gitmo North, Stammlager, Michigan. As a listener for over a decade, I used to have a very small subscription donation for a short time, but when PayPal forgot the subscription, it happens. Check your subscriptions, people. I had 3 kids and 1 income. 2 are now in college. Wow. These kids have grown up with us. 2 are now in college. Which school? Ivy League, no doubt. But I still had a little extra dollar income, and I wanted to get de-douched. Well, let's do that right away then.
You've been de-douched.
I punched my smoking hot wife in the mouth this summer, and while dollars are still tight, she was on board with the donation. The family that know agendas together. I'd love a jobs karma for the handyman construction side job a buddy of mine and I started during the demic. We'll do that for you. Wants a Soisonneuve 6969, a Soisonneuve as we call it. And if that's true, we got that for you, and thank you so much.
69, dudes.
That's true. Jobs, 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 and jobs. Let's vote for jobs.
You've got karma.
Trevor Lohman in Loma Linda, California, down south from here. $200. Thank you for reading my note last week and mentioning my coffee roasting business, Good Boy Coffee. Good Boy Coffee.
Good boy.
Here's the 20% promise since the last show.
Woo.
I'm donating the rest. I suspect it would have been more than $13, but unfortunately, John C., where the C stands for cold read.
Oh, here we go.
Read the URL incorrectly.
Oh, no. This is horrible. We've botched their marketing.
Yeah, that's what I'm guessing that's what happened. The co in Goodbye Coffee Co.
No, stop. It's goodboycoffeeco.com. You're already botching it.
I must have something against this poor guy.
Let me try it. Goodboycoffeeco.com. Goodboycoffeeco.com.
Maybe Adam should read this next part to be safe. And he just did. Mention the show on his own. He didn't even ask to be asked.
No, that's right.
Mention the show for a 20% donation. Strong work on your cupping knowledge, John. Thanks, guys. No jingles, no karma.
Thank you very much. It's very kind of you.
I know about the cupping.
And no agenda where the make goods are paid for by the marketer.
I know.
What a model. What a model.
Different model than you get normally.
Pay attention, advertisers. These are people who give a crap about our product, and we care about them. That's what's going on here.
That's what's really going on. Lieutenant Winters in Nashua, New Hampshire is $200, and we're almost done. Yeah. Thanks for being one of the few sane voices left in the world. If you acknowledge the donation, please refer to me as Lieutenant Winters. Thanks. Okay, that's what we did.
You got it.
And last but not least is Dame
G-Money.
$G.
G-Money. Her name is
G-Money. That's what it is, G-Money. In Dallas. She's in Dallas. $200. Throwback jingle. JCD yearning for his old school Bakelite phone. That was actually the Tech Grouch. Mm-hmm. ITM, John and Adam, I'm kicking off 2021 the right way with a donation to the best podcast in the universe. Can I please get some Finca Karma Goat will work for this. Thank you for your courage. Donating is love.
Indeed. Dame G Money, thank you so much.
The only good phone's a landline, and the phone should be made out of Bakelite.
You've got karma.
How I yearn for the days of the tech grouch. We could do him audio. I think tech grouch would be great in audio, too.
It's a hard. The problem with the tech grouch, and actually the tech hippie, too, is that I developed these voices for him. And the tech grouch in particular was painful.
Oh, it hurts your throat. It hurts your throat, yeah.
And I tried to make adjustments, so I need to go to a voice coach to do that voice correctly, because I was doing it incorrectly, and I just said,
wait. You went to a voice coach?
No, I said I need to go to a voice coach to have them show me how to do that voice correctly without hurting my throat. So
all we need is like the tech grouch saying something like, "I was OTG before the Unabomber was in the woods," something like that. That'll be good for the show.
Yeah, well, you can write the material if you want.
Will you perform?
Most of that was ad-libbed.
You are so talented.
Yeah, we could do that one of these days.
Yeah, we'll put it on the list of great projects.
Exit
strategies galore, everybody. And thank you to our executive and associate executive producers. You can proudly display that anywhere you wish, because you are one for episode 1312 of the No Agenda Show, the best podcast in the universe. Anyone doubts that, look it up in the Mueller report. But if someone really calls you on it, challenges, we'll be happy to vouch for you. And thank you for allowing us to not be Ben Shapiro and being told what to and what not to talk about on our very own show. And remember, we do it again with you on Sunday. Go to
Dvorak.org/NA.
Value for value. All we need is your time, your talent, and your treasure. Thank you for bringing it.
Our formula is this. We go out, we hit people in the mouth. Order.
Shut up, slave.
Shut up, slave.
I want to revisit the Shapiro thing.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think? How did this get initiated in the first place? Why does anybody who's syndicating somebody really care that much about this one topic? You think it was the advertisers or pressure from the nerds out there that are the Democrats that bitch about these things? What do you think it was?
Well, Cumulus is a radio syndicator. I'm not sure how many stations they carry their shows on. But yeah, they're big. And your answer, you already gave the answer. It's because it's preemptive against advertiser anger, which always comes. So here's how it works. I hate Ben Shapiro. He's a Nazi. He's a Jew, but let's call him a Nazi anyway. I'm going to deplatform him. Let me see who's advertising on his show. Hey, Ford. All right. Hello, station. Hey, man. You know Ben Shapiro is a Nazi and he's a racist, and Ford. I'm going to go call Ford. That's how it goes. So they're just preempting. They don't want the hassle. It's not even ideology. They don't want the hassle because they know the deplatforming is underway in broad daylight. That's the correct business decision. You have to do that. I would if I was the Cumulus guy.
You probably would.
Yeah. Of course.
I don't know, did we play this or not, but this is from last year. I think it was late in the year. Dave Jackson was on the podcast roundtable.
Mm-hmm. The Dave
plugging
Jackson?
Our show.
Wait, the Dave Jackson?
Yeah, the Dave Jackson, the guy, the podcast, School of Podcasting.
School of Podcasting, huh?
Perhaps on financial, but here, Dave, I think they can pretty much trust our opinion. Now, that can be controversial on its own, right? Everyone says, you might have an agenda. Dave, you work at Lipson, so maybe you have an agenda when you give podcast information, right?
Yeah, I get that. As soon as I've been there 5 years, and anytime I say anything about media hosting, people are like, you're going to say that because you work for Lipson. And I'm like, But two of the shows that I trust the most, one is Congressional Dish by Jen Briney,
protege,
who actually used to read all the bills that went through Congress.
She still does.
And she's still almost sane. And then the other one is the No Agenda Show with Adam Curry and John C. Dvorak. And both those guys have extensive show notes. In fact, Jen is like, look, if I say something and you think I'm wrong, bring it. I'm not here to go who's wrong and who's right. Let's figure out what the truth is together. So it's a completely different, it's not the whole I'm right, you're wrong kind of setup, but both those shows are, and they talk about stuff that you just won't hear on regular TV, which is sad because like they just, the No Agenda just talked about how there was a reported news that this 2-month-old kid died of COVID, like 2 months old. Okay, that news story on mainstream media forgot to mention the kid was born with its like guts on the outside of its body.
Hey, I can't wait to listen to that No Agenda show now. Kids with guts. I mean, thank you, Dave. That's very kind. Well, since we're on that topic, the guys over at Gab, they listen to the show. I've known this for a long time, and I have been using their Dissenter browser. I think maybe going on 1.5 years now, maybe 2 years. I love it. It's a good browser. Extremely good browser. I really do enjoy it. And he was, since Parler has been deparlayed, Gab is still one of the games in town, and I've always liked them. I liked a lot more when they were federating. I think it was too much for them to handle, just the amount of data storage transfer. I mean, it would take too much money. I don't think that you can. It's just too big. Maybe over time they can try that again. But he's also now jumping on what I'll just call is the Graphene OS bandwagon, which is what I now have installed. It seems to be the operating system of choice for those who want full control over it. No Google crap or Apple crap in there. And he was promoting it.
This is the prototype of the Gab phone. Yes. That's not the official name, but this is the prototype of the Gab phone. So we are building our own smartphone. It's based on the Android operating system, but it is totally removing anything related to Google. It will not communicate to Google whatsoever. It has hardened security, and it's going to come preloaded with all of the Gab apps and Parler and whoever else has been banned from the App Store. By the way, Telegram is next. They're already coming after them. Signal is next. They're not going to allow any free speech on these platforms. If you have free speech on your platform, you're going to get booted from the App Store, right? So this is still in very early development. I can't say too much on it yet, but this is because that's where they're going next. They're going to start censoring at the hardware level. We're already 10 steps ahead. They're also going to start censoring at the browser level, the web browser level. We see the chairman of Mozilla come out and say that deplatforming is not enough. Well, you know what they're going to do? They're going to start blocking gab.com on the Mozilla Firefox browser. Mark my words, that's what's next.
I think he's right. The Mozilla browser will start blocking.
The problem with the Mozilla Firefox operation, the guy who founded it quit to form Brave.
Well, he was deplatformed, basically. He was thrown out for his political views.
He was kicked out for saying babe, or I don't know.
No. He had donated money in the past.
Oh, that's right.
To a group that was clearly homophobic or something like that.
He gave some money to a charity that was not woke.
Yeah.
And so he is woke, and I think you should avoid their browser and use something else. Use the Brave browser, or use the Gab browser. There's a lot of browsers out there, and I would avoid using Mozilla. And I think that this is a shameful company.
Oh yes, of course their money comes from Google. They would have been dead if it wasn't for Google. And for Andrew Torba, please consider putting one of our Podcasting 2.0 apps on there with a pre-subscribed list, just telling you how much cooler you can make it. So you'll have decentralized podcasting, like Podcast Addict does it, Play a Pod, newpodcastapps.com, and put a pre-subscribed list in there with the No Agenda show. Because I know you listen to it, and he even follows some of our philosophy.
We launched our own browser, our own free speech browser, dissenter.com, about 1.5 years ago. So you can go and get that. It blocks big tech trackers and ads by default. It has a built-in free speech commenting system. So you can go to CNN.com, and even though they don't allow comments, you can leave comments and see what other people are saying. And there's absolutely nothing they can do to stop you. So we have a browser already. Now we're working on a phone. That's next. Gab is not just the Facebook alternative, all right? It's not just the Twitter alternative. alternative. We are the Silicon Valley alternative. We are going to take these guys down, metaphorically, of course, and we're going to win. And we're going to win with your help because, like you said, our business model is value for value. We're not treating you as data serfs and selling you.
Value for value. There you go.
Well, I'm liking it.
Yes. Go podcasting!
While we're talking about these sort of companies getting kicked off and the collude, there's an interesting clip from some attorneys. He was one of the state's attorney or somebody. He was on Fox, and this is the attorney on collusion. I thought this was interesting.
Okay.
And former Assistant U.S. Attorney Andy McCarthy. This is brand new news, Andy. Just happened about an hour ago. What do you make of it? They allege there's a monopoly. You can't stifle them. What do you think? Do they have a case?
I think, Bill, that this is an unusually brazen amount of what looks like collusive activity between the big tech companies in connection with this one target Parler, where when you marshal it, it doesn't really take a rocket scientist to put this together and say, they're trying to do a knockout punch on this business, which is a potential competitor of theirs in certain contexts, particularly Twitter. So I think it's surprising because you don't usually get this kind of really brazen evidence of these companies working together against this one company.
Can you prove they're working together, or is it just suggested, do you think?
Well, you always need an investigation like this, Bill, to get a look at what the internal communications are and the emails and all that stuff. But to see something, rat-tat-tat happen like this, what we usually tell juries in trials is that you don't check your common sense at the door. And when things kind of fit together the way these seem to fit together, it's a rational inference that people are colluding.
Any collusion?
Yeah. They are colluding, and whenever Apple is in the bunch, then it was really organized and coordinated. Apple does not do anything knee-jerk, ever. Very, very tightly run ship. So, and they are clearly anti-free speech and just douches. And not the whole company, but the vibe there is holier than thou. They're not even woke. They're holier than thou. We stand above all this. I'm Tim Cook. I'm here to launch my new thing, which is not a product. Do we know what he launched, by the way? Was it something super exciting?
Well, my understanding in advance was it was going to be some tracking stuff for the COVID.
Oh, how exciting.
Yeah, something like that.
Time to smash your iPhone, iPhoney. I have a few COVID things, which I would like to start sharing here. And a bit of an analysis, which I found interesting.
Well, can I play one COVID thing?
Yeah, I insist. I insist.
Well, this is the COVID. Apparently, China's got some issues. They got a COVID thing going on. They got a report. This is the COVID China. F from France 24.
China reports its first coronavirus death in 8 months. Despite being the origin of COVID-19, the world's most populous nation has tallied just 4,795 fatalities to date and under 100,000 cases. Also this Thursday, a team of scientists from the World Health Organization will start an investigation into the origins of COVID-19 in Wuhan.
Oh, well, the origins. Please.
One dead in China.
We all know the origins of COVID-19, and it was really spelled out perfectly by the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom's, no longer Europe, where they are now modeling their new first uniforms for the uniformed services. Vortex, Europe, EU it's not an army, but they got uniforms, getting closer. So Bojo is in the climate. They're hosting the Climate One bullcrap for climate change, the precursor to the new Paris Accord, whatever it is. He's all in. And we always need to remind people that COVID is because of climate change, because of our total disregard and disrespect for Mother Nature. That's why we got COVID. Or?
Obviously, it's right to focus on climate change. Obviously, it's right to cut CO2 emissions, but we won't achieve a real balance with nature with our planet, unless we protect nature as well. And one final thought: don't forget that the coronavirus pandemic was the product of an imbalance in man's relationship with the natural world, like the original plague that struck the Greeks. I seem to remember in Book 1 of the Iliad. It is a zoonotic disease. It originates from, whether it's bats or, I'm winding up, but whether it originates from bats or pangolins, from the demented belief that if you grind up the scales of a pangolin, you will somehow become more potent, or whatever it is that people believe. It originates from this collision between mankind and the natural world, and we've got to stop it. And that's why I think that this summit is so important, and this focus on the natural world and on biodiversity is absolutely critical.
You can imagine that the CCP, the Chinese Communist Party, is outraged by his comments, because that is clearly racist, because we all know it's only Chinese who do such nutty things, grinding up the scales of the pangolin to produce boner pills. Do you remember the other day?
Pangolin back. By the way it's pronounced is zoonotic.
Yeah.
Zoonotic.
Not zoonotic.
No. Zoonotic.
Remember the other... Go ahead.
I mean, you'd think, because I'm always bitching about zoology.
Yeah, but...
that it should be pronounced zoonotic. So, no, it's pronounced zoonotic.
Remember the other day...
The British do pronounce things differently, but...
You remember the other day I was reading... the shaming, the repent message from Forbes magazine, how they were going to assume if you hired anyone from the Trump administration, you're liars, and if that person's a PR person, they're liars.
And we'll go after them.
Yeah. Do you know who owns Forbes Media? You said, it's Republicans who own it. Yeah. Except Forbes was sold to HNA in 2017. It's Chinese.
That would make sense.
Yeah.
I know Steve Forbes came out with a statement. I didn't record it. I could have put it on the show. Apologizing, kind of, because he knows the advertisers are going to bail out. But he never really got around to firing the idiot who wrote that editorial. That guy, by the way, should be on a list. I'm going to just say it. The list we should have is a list of all these companies that have done all this stuff, not going to hire, not going to do this, not going to do that, not going to give any money to Republicans. Put them on a list, and put that guy on a list. He shouldn't be hired by anyone. He's an editor you shouldn't hire. And he's also a hipster. He's got the fedora. He's a funky guy.
Put him on a
list.
We heard about the dark winter, and I have some analysis of this concept of the dark winter, which I think we know that at one point in 2014, maybe it was even earlier than that. It was some kind of biological warfare exercise. I don't know if it was a tabletop, or it was kind of like, probably more like an Event 201 type thing. Well, here's what's going to happen. Here's what we tell the media. And we kept hearing this term crop up in the media, which is why everyone started to look up. There's a Wikipedia page for dark winter for this exercise. Here's a quick supercut of the mainstream media, M5M, using the term dark winter.
We're about to go into a dark winter. A dark winter. I
have no plan.
We're going to have a dark winter. We're still facing a very dark winter.
We're entering a dark winter.
My heart goes out to each of you in this dark winter of the pandemic.
When he's talked about a dark winter, my opponent is promising a long, dark winter.
We are facing a very dark winter.
We're still in the middle of what will be a very, very, very dark winter.
It could be a long, dark winter.
Without
for WHO in getting through this dark winter.
We are in for a long, dark winter before a vaccine becomes broadly available.
The courage and judgment to lead us through this long, dark winter.
As we enter the dark winter of the pandemic,
what we've all had to endure and what we're going to have to endure during this very dark winter to combat
this virus and to save as many lives as we can.
I said in March it was going to be a long, dark winter. We're still in that long, dark winter.
The U.S. faces the darkest winter in modern history.
Britain is braced for a dark winter as new measures are deployed to stem a surge of coronavirus.
And more than 9 months into the pandemic, COVID-19 is spreading with a vengeance. It has now killed a reported 280,000 Americans, according to Johns Hopkins University. Record numbers of new cases and hospitalizations increase concern that a dark winter is ahead.
All I can tell you is the truth. We're in a very dark winter. Things may well get worse before they get better.
I forget who the producer's name who did that, but good job. I like the ominous music underneath it. Put some of their own fire on them. So here's an analysis of this term and how it's being used by Heiko Schöning. He's vice president of the World Freedom Alliance. I don't know what that is. It could be a Chinese front. I have no idea. But I liked his analysis of the term and how it relates to the COVIDs and what kind of situation we're in right now.
But this mass panic, what was created then by the governments and by the media was anthrax, like now corona. And, well, they created a law in December 2001, and this is nearly exactly the law that happened now in Germany on the 18th of November 2020. So, and this was a Model State Emergency Powers Act with the draft of December 21, 2001. So it looks like that the anthrax event in 2001 is like a blueprint of this coronavirus in 2020. And we have a lot of other similarities and code words. Interestingly, so we know from the anthrax, it was not a foreign attack, it was a domestic. And this is official. Even the government of the United States, they say, okay, this anthrax attack was not a foreign attack, it was a domestic attack. Because in December 2001, there was a scientific investigation, and it came out that the anthrax came out of the US Army lab for 100%. And the government admitted this. So what happened? All the mass media panic was coming from 100% down to 0%. Most of the people didn't know and can't remember of the anthrax. Yes, there was something.
All right, so that's his setup. And I was living in Europe at the time, so the anthrax scare was weird. It didn't come across. I mean, it was too confusing. The Europe in 2001, the European news wasn't covering stuff well enough. The keeper, though, she was in Florida, and she remembers it was right near her in Boca, where it was discovered. So this guy continues, and he ties it into something surprising.
Well, Dark Winter was the name of the simulation in 2001, before this biothreat happened in reality. Yes. And very interestingly, there is a man from Dark Winter, one of the planners, who had the connection to the Great Reset of today. You know what's going on now? The financial Great Reset of Klaus Schwab.
We must not miss this unique window of opportunity.
And is there a direct connection between Dark Winter and Klaus Schwab? Yes. And his name is Mr. David Gergen. He was the planner of Dark Winter. He sat on the table with the Central Intelligence Agency, with the Johns Hopkins University, and now he's sitting at the board of the Klaus Schwab Foundation.
And the Klaus Schwab Foundation, of course, is behind or has a connection to this so-called Great Reset.
Yes, exactly.
All right. I like it. Klaus Schwab connected to the anthrax dark winter exercise. I love these people. They always keep you guessing. What you gonna do now, Klaus? What you gonna do? Yeah.
I think he's lost it.
Klaus?
I was looking at the history of we have somebody on the No Agenda Social that's following this operation very closely. Mm-hmm. She came over from Twitter. I invited her.
Oh, nice.
Unspin the Spin Girl. And I was looking at the history of this operation, and Schwab went off he's in his 80s. He went off the rails about, and I think this needs to be explored a little bit. I think we will. I will for sure. about 6-7 years ago when he started having little meditation sessions and all these crazy new age crap started sneaking into that. I was looking at a rundown of all places, the New York Times, and there's all certain things that the themes they had from year to year to year. And about 5 or 6 years ago, this guy lost it. And now he's producing this nutty stuff. And I think it's just, unfortunately, I think he's still taken seriously. We have to reveal what's going on here. Because this is nuts. I mean, this is where that movie came from. We haven't really explored much. We talk about
Which movie?
The movie where they say, there's going to be no more private property. Everyth's going to be.
Well, that's not a movie. It's a World Economic Forum promo about the future where you don't own anything. Yeah. Yeah, they love it. That's their dream. Get everybody streaming from Netflix to increase their credit score. Own nothing, rent everything, be in debt for all. It's the future. Don't you love it, kids?
It needs to be discussed more than we do.
Something that we knew would be a story. At least we caught one version, well, two versions of it.
We'll see you again tomorrow night. Now it's time for The Last Word with Lawrence O'Donnell. Good evening, Lawrence.
Good evening, Rachel. And of course, the invasion of the Capitol was also a super spreader event, including apparently in the safe room where they were holding members of the House of Representatives. We're going to be joined tonight by...
All right, so that was MSNBC. ABC had kind of the same idea.
And now there's concern that last week's riot in Washington may have been a COVID super spreader event. Two congresswomen say they've now tested positive after some of their fellow lawmakers were seen not wearing a mask.
Now, it's subtle. I believe that this, for some people saying this, they're creating an invisible connection between people who are sick and spread sickness and Republicans or Trump supporters. And I truly think they're trying to make that case. And it makes sense when you think about how a large majority of the population, if they get COVID, are so upset because they feel they have done something wrong.
Yeah.
And there was something just hit me. There was something about some school, I think it was the Woke Elementary maybe, where they were teaching the kids that, to be sorry or how to apologize because they killed grandma because they came home and spread it. I got to find that. It wasn't a clip, unfortunately. But anyway, I think this is a connection that's being made on purpose, and it will spill over. And you can identify these crazy, horrible people easily.
This morning, airlines cracking down against unruly flyers following last week's riot at
Unruly flyers means Republicans. Trump MAGA hat wearing people. That's your unruly flyer.
the Capitol. At least two congressmen asking the Federal Aviation Administration to fine disruptive passengers $35,000 per violation. Applause as this woman is escorted off an American Airlines flight in D.C. Sunday. Americans saying she was not complying with mask policies. Passengers say she was yelling about tyranny.
If we don't stand up, it's only going to get worse.
The crackdown comes as videos emerge showing a growing number of incidents on flights to and from D.C. after the riot. On this flight from Washington to Phoenix Friday, the pilot was threatening to stop midway if passengers did not follow the rules.
I'll put this plane down in the middle of Kansas and dump people off. I don't care.
The list of banned passengers also growing. United Airlines banning 60 people for mask violations just last week, and Alaska Airlines banning 14 people on one flight alone. The FAA tweeting that federal law prohibits you from physically assaulting or threatening to physically assault the crew and anyone else on an aircraft. You could be subject to fines up to $35,000 and imprisonment.
And I'm really sad because I saw something live, which I cannot find. It wasn't on C-SPAN. I saw it it was on MSNBC for a moment. It was Chuck Schumer in New York, one of those tight shots where he's on the sidewalk and he has a little lectern there. And he was calling for these types of people, unruly people, to be put on a no-fly list. Not just, hey, you should ban them from your airline. No, put them on the federal no-fly list register so they can never fly again. And he's doing this whole thing, and he's holding up the no-fly list. Probably younger than him, but older Jewish woman confronts him. She gets in front of him, in front of the camera, unfortunately, and she starts going off, "You should be ashamed of yourself, especially for a Jew. We went through this with Hitler. You are literally making people other and less than human." And just went off, and it was a whole minute. And Schumer just stood there like a deer in the headlights. His security detail didn't know what to do. No one was doing anything. She just kept on railing at him, and then they cut away, and that was it. It was not on any other network. I can't find a clip. It was beautiful.
Well, maybe somebody out there can find a clip.
Yes.
That sounds like a great clip. But Schumer is, in fact, he's othering.
He's othering. That's the term.
He's othering, which is wrong. It's wrong.
It is very wrong. ABC World News now. They're on board with helping to combat the narrative, which comes from official research, that asymptomatic spread is kind of bullcrap. So we have to counter that.
Some gorillas at the San Diego Zoo are believed to be the first primates of their kind to test positive for COVID. Zoo officials say 8 animals are believed to have the virus, and several have been coughing. It's believed that they were infected from a member of the zoo's wildlife care team who has been asymptomatic. They are being treated with vitamins, fluid, and food.
And ivermectin. And hydroxychloroquine. Yeah. So, hey, just so you know, humans can spread it to gorillas, so they can probably spread it to you. Canada's in a new lockdown. It's pretty severe. Solicitor General Sylvia Jones, who's responsible for health and security or something.
Let me be clear. If people are found not complying with these orders, they will be subject to fines and persecution.
Nice. Premier Doug Ford.
If you love your grandparents, and I know you do, if you love your parents, love your neighbors, your co-workers, please follow the process, follow the guidelines that we put out there. I just can't stress it enough. And if we don't, we're going to see the numbers that we saw the modeling. Dr. Brown showed us. And if that isn't scary enough, I don't know what is.
These lockdowns, the Netherlands was promised January 15th would end their most recent lockdown. That has now been renewed to February 9th. And from everything I understand, the Netherlands will follow Germany's example and will have a hard lockdown into April. My daughter called me, and she'd kind of broken down. It's like, Dad, I know 3 people who have committed suicide. Friends of mine losing their house, nowhere to go. It's heartbreaking. They are truly, with bullcrap, completely unnecessary. Hey, I'm walking on free man in Texas. Not more people dying, perhaps even less.
Well, my column ran in Substack, the one on
very good
mass hysteria.
Yes. Slow clap for the Substack. Was a great column.
It got some attention here and there, and I think my confirmation clip is the one I played about China, which is they had 1 death.
Yeah. You want to summarize just briefly?
Yeah, the column says that I blame much of this on mass hysteria. People, and that's all we do is discuss the mass hysteria aspect on this show, where people get the COVID and they get all freaked out because they're hysterical from the get-go and they're expecting the worst. They're going to die and all the rest.
Yeah.
And the thing that I noticed is that, and at first I started comparing African nations' death tolls, like Nigeria, with half of our population has like 400 or 500 dead, not 400,000. And why? And so I asked the question: why are we in the United States number 1 in the world for this? We only have 4.2% of the population and 20% of the cases. It makes no sense. China has nothing, and India, with the 3 or 4 times our population, has half as many of everything. And so I blamed it. What could cause this on the constant barrage by the media and just never-ending, relentless barrage. We play clip after clip for months about, it's the worst than ever. And, we're all going to die. Oh, you're going to get it. Oh, wear a mask. And it goes on and on and on. And if you look at countries without mass media like ours, and the one in the UK's got another mass media very similar, very, very hyperbolic. It's panicky. It sensationalizes everything. That's what we do, and that's what they do. If you look at countries with none of that, like China, for example, or most of Africa, the COVID's numbers are way down. They're just taking it for granted and they're going on their merry way. And so I put two and two together and said, it's the media that's causing this. It's causing people to actually have, and there are responses. They're notorious. You can look it up, how people can make themselves sick, literally make themselves sick. And there's tons of examples of this over history by just being freaked out. And this is what's going on.
Yeah, it was a really good piece. It really was. And I love your Substacks, because usually a Substack, because I only subscribe to a couple, about halfway through, I'm like, I can't handle it, Glenn Greenwald. It's too much copy. Matt Taibbi, please condense. I lose interest.
I will, just to pat myself on the back.
Yeah.
I know the limits of short form writing, and what happens with people that are being published constantly, where they have the limits, because they have to fill space, and this takes a while to get used to. But I've been writing online for 20 years or more, so I've long since know the ideas. You want shorter, not longer. And I've seen this before. A lot of writers, oh my God, I don't have any limits. I can just go on and on and on. I don't think Taibbi is too bad. I mean, goes over. He writes about 2,000 words when he should be writing 1,200 or 1,000. But Glenn Greenwald has always needed someone to stop him, because he'll just write for days. And he does.
He does. Yeah. So you got enjoyable nuggets. Okay. I got a 3-parter, and this is about the vaccine. And as we've shifted, we've gone from the models. The 2.3 million people will die in America. You remember that, people? Remember that back in February, March? We saw the switch, the moving of the goalpost. We're now in day 390 of flattening the curve in 2 weeks, in case you forgot. We went through a ventilator shortage, which wasn't. Where's that now? How many ventilators?
The big army, the big giant ships.
We had ships. We had the Javits Center, where car shows, boat shows are done. We had emergency hospitals around the country not used. But now we're out of beds. We're out of ICU beds. We're all going to die. Shut up, slaves. Sit home and get depressed until the vaccine comes. Now the vaccine is coming. It's like, well, the vaccine, you can still give it. You can still kill grandmas. You got to wear masks, social distance. It's all not true. They have lied to you, to us, continuously, pushing the goal. Oh, let's do. Come on, we're all Americans. Well, no. Here's the problem with the vaccine. I finally found someone to deconstruct it. His name is Dr. David Martin.
Oh yeah, this is good. Before you play that, I got to say something. So they set up shop in Sequim, Washington, which is near Port Angeles, for people to get shots. I think it was an Indian reservation. They got a bunch of shots. And so they told everybody to, you can come in. The shots started, I think, this morning. And they had all these shots. People, according to Eric,
around the block,
his reports, this is cars. It's a car drive-through shot.
Yeah.
The cars are blocking the roads. They're going back miles. The first cars, before they were even open, were jacked up at 3 a.m. They're waiting. Wow. And it was going to start at 10 or something. People are just they dynamite want this shot. There's nothing. I mean, they are flocking to these shots. I just want to mention that.
Yeah.
Because this is what we've been predicting, because that's what people do, because they've been told to do it by the media, and you can thank the media for that. We'll play clips like this to no avail.
Even Christina, she's like, Dad, I should probably just take the shot. They're not going to let us travel anywhere. And that's what it is. You break people, you break them, and then, of course, they're going to say, Dr. Bill, give it to me. Give it to me, Dr. Bill. Dr. David Martin, who has a rather odd YouTube channel. And from what I understand, he's done a lot of, he's a lawyer and practices in medical field and in medical trials specifically. And it's kind of weird because he has his wife, who is either Australian or British, and she kind of almost is sitting on his knee, and she's going, "Oh yeah," he's like, if I don't know the guy, but
Jill Biden approach.
I mean, but she's beautiful, and she just does echoes. Yeah, that's right. It's a sidekick, but it almost looks like she's sitting on his lap. That doesn't matter. I cut her out. I want to just hear what he has to say. So he is going to explain why the vaccine, and I'm talking specifically about Moderna and the Pfizer. These are what we've been told is this new technology. He says it is not a vaccine by what it does or the legal definition. And it is since your M5M mainstream media is not helping you to form informed consent, your No Agenda show has to do it.
So when Moderna was started, and if you go back and look at their SEC filings, and we've gone through all their SEC filings, they make a point of saying that their technology is a gene therapy technology. Gene therapy technology. You'll notice that they don't say vaccination. And it was set up to be a cancer treatment. So this is gene therapy, chemotherapy. Now let's just stop for a minute. Let's just ask the question. If Anthony Fauci got up and said to everybody, hey, we want you to take chemotherapy for the disease that you may or may not ever have, there wouldn't be a single person raising their hand. The prophylactic chemotherapy, you wouldn't be doing it. You know why you wouldn't be doing it? Because it's a dumb idea. That's why you wouldn't be doing it. And states wouldn't be able to mandate it, and employers wouldn't be able to mandate it. No employer would be able to mandate a chemotherapy for a disease that you don't have. That would not be a legal thing to do. But they called their technology gene therapy technology. They made a big point of saying that this was not investigational new drugs. This was gene therapy technology. This belonged in the Center for Biologics, potentially even the CDRH, the Center for Device and Radiologic Health. But what they're doing is they're putting together a synthetic fragment of nucleic acid. It's not mRNA. It's not natural. It's not even a natural component of a fragment. It's a synthetic fragment. It's a technology embedded within a fat carrier, a PEG carrier, and that is being introduced into the cell not to induce a immunity from infection with a SARS-CoV virus, and it's not to block transmission of it. It's actually to lessen symptoms associated with the S1 spike protein, not even the virus itself. The fact of the matter is, this thing is actually not a vaccination.
What I found interesting as I was doing a show prep is the UK is about to start a large treatment trial, and they're going to be using interferon beta 1A. And I remember interferon they use that against AIDS. They're giving people chemo. And this shot is apparently a high-tech version, or maybe the medical definition of a chemotherapy, not a vaccination. Now he reviews how the CDC defines this.
Why would you say it's not a vaccination? Well, let's look at the legal standard for what a vaccination is. And let's start with the Center for Disease Control's own definitions. Two important operative definitions. Immunity is protection from an infectious disease. Protection from an infectious disease. If you are immune to a disease, you can be exposed to it without becoming infected. By definition, neither Pfizer nor Moderna even claims that to be the case. Immunity, you can be exposed to a pathogen, infectious disease, without becoming infected. Not only is that not the case, we're going to get to this in a minute, but in their clinical trials, they specifically say they're not going to test that. And then the CDC says a vaccine is a product that stimulates a person's immune system to produce immunity, see the definition above, to a specific disease, protecting the person from that disease. That's the CDC. So let's just stipulate for the sake of this conversation that the CDC's own definition and what Pfizer and Moderna are doing do not match.
I find this very encouraging news, because if we ever get to the point where travel is restricted or life is restricted because you didn't take your mandatory vaccine. Now we have some different recourse. And I think that would be very, I don't know. There's no way to break through the mainstream, but once people figure out that you're being given chemotherapy and not a vaccine, they may change their mind. And that was the CDC. Now he goes into the final clip, the actual legal definition. Coincidentally, he picks two states, I think Iowa and Washington State. We're just talking about miles and miles of people are lined up in their car to drive through and get some chemo.
CDC is not the law. CDC is an expression of a agency empowered by the law, but it's actually not the law. So why don't we actually look at the laws where vaccine has been defined? And it turns out that's a much harder exercise than you would think, because vaccine, the term, is actually not a legally defined term in an enormous number of statutes that govern vaccines, which is actually a really interesting thing. But let's look at some examples. And I just pulled a couple examples from the Iowa Code. Vaccine, and I'm quoting, means a specially prepared antigen administered to a person for the purpose of providing immunity. Immunity, once again, the operative definition, which is to say that when exposed to a pathogen, you are not susceptible. That's the Iowa Code. How about Washington State? You know, the state that has been absolutely tyrannical in all of its interventions around coronavirus, allegedly the birthplace of the U.S. experience with coronavirus, state of Washington. Vaccine, legally defined term now, this is in the statute, means a preparation of a killed or attenuated living microorganism or fraction thereof. Vaccine means a preparation of a killed or attenuated living microorganism. mRNA, synthetically developed by Moderna and Pfizer, do not meet this definition.
And now we know why the vaccine the manufacturers of this so-called vaccine had an additional specific indemnification brought to life for them, even though manufacturers of vaccines in the United States by law are already indemnified under the biologics category. This is disturbing.
Because it's not a biologic.
Correct. This does, I mean, wow, can you think of the lawsuits that may be possible? And certainly just, no, you're not going to put chemotherapy in me. No.
They can still have, these lawsuits are still possible because the people have been misled.
Informed consent.
If you're told that you're getting a vaccine and you're getting a certificate, I got vaccinated, and even in the state of Washington, which has a definition for a vaccine, I don't care what your indemnification is, you're not going to be able to carry it. This is like the indemnification kind of, or the pile of money that was put together so John Mansfield could cover all the asbestos cancer cases. That's what's going to be. It's going to just put everybody out. Yeah, you get some money out of this deal, but those companies won't stay in business. Pfizer's putting themselves at great risk.
This is shocking. It's really shocking.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, because it's so in your. I understand.
I'm shocked. There's gambling going on.
I am kind of shocked.
I'm going to show my support by donating to No Agenda. Imagine all the people who could do that. Oh yeah, that'd be fab. Yeah, on No Agenda in the morning.
Well, that's a good place to take a break. And we do have a few people to thank for show 1312. Big 1313 is coming up on Sunday.
Yeah, Sunday.
Starting with Mike Brower in Wattle Park, South Australia. That's nice. 14824. And I think this bumps him up.
Oh.
Yes, it does. It's a donation of $200 dues for his 35th anniversary present for Loopy Lindrum.
He is
Could you please credit this donation to Loopy? And as a result, he will need a de-douching.
You got it.
You've been de-douched.
His birthday's on the 15th, and we do have him on the list. Thank you. So we have to remember to put this.
Yeah, I got it. It's in the system.
Sir Herb Lamb, the Viscount of Georgia, Baron of Beaufort Dam in Sugar Hill, Georgia. 12121. Thank you. I think he's got a note here. He's got a birthday. Something's coming up. Dakota Walker in Redondo Beach, California, 1/13/86, another birthday.
And a Rogan, a regular after Rogan.
That's good.
Yeah. Oh, so Roganites, just so you know, just reminding you, execs and associate execs can do the jingle thing, just so you know. And we like when you put in, numerology. Use some numerology. You can send coded messages with numerology.
He does want a de-douching. We can do that.
Absolutely.
You've been de-douched.
And you're on the birthday list. Gerald Clement Jr. in Oak Park, California, $100. Mike Bateman in Minneapolis, Minnesota Nuts, $100. Charles Upjohn, $100. Richard Brodowski in Smyrna, Georgia.
And Richard,
100.
We'll do it at the end for him. Health karma request for coworker's mom who was rushed to the ER. You bet. We'll do that.
Sanford Felter in Reno, Nevada, 8718. It's an amuse-bouche, as he puts it.
In anticipation of 1313.
Amuse-bouche.
That's funny.
Sir Richard Hufford in Tempe, Arizona, 8008.
Boop.
Sir Kevin McLaughlin, the Duke of Luna, Locust, North Carolina, 6006.
Small boob.
Small boobs. Adam Wiener, 60.
Could be Weiner.
Sir not appearing, Wiener, one of the two. Sir not appearing on this podcast in Richland, Washington, 5678. Baron Bob of High Point, North Carolina, 5532.
And he will get some health karma for complications with his back surgery. Holy crap. Listen to this note. Holy crap. Baron Bob. No. We got to do this now. Baron Bob of High Point, North Carolina. Can I please get some health karma? I had complications with my back surgery that has left me a paraplegic, and I'm trying to learn how to do everyday tasks over again while in a wheelchair. And he says, thank you. No, thank you for your courage, Baron Bob. Wow. So is that permanent or?
Well, we're going to have to find out. I don't know.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah, health karma. Health karma right away.
You've got karma.
That's horrible.
Sorry, Baron.
Yeah.
Now the following people are $50 donors, name and location, starting with Michael Burlett in Odessa, Florida, $50. Evan Panico in Bradenton, Florida. And Dame Patricia Worthington in Miami, Florida.
Yay,
bang, bang,
yay,
bang.
yay,
3
yay.
Floridians right there. Thomas Hurtado, $50. Bert Wilson, $50. Sir Labrat of the Hill Country in Universal City, Texas. R. Tabak in Meppel. As R. Tabak, I don't know how to pronounce that. But Renee. It's Renee Tabak in Meppel, Holland.
Tabak.
Ryan Henderson in Indianapolis, Indiana. Brandon Savoy in Port Orchard, Washington is a sir. Megan Emery, 50. Parts unknown. Rawson Tachkoff in London, UK. Sean McRae, 50. Eric Schmick. No, Schmick. Eric Schmick. Tony Smith in Fort Worth. Sir Robert Kerback in Essexville, Michigan. Kimberly Redmond in Toronto, Ontario. Elliot Rivera in Las Vegas, Nevada. Judson Noel in Oxford, Mississippi. Some Mississippians are finally coming on board. Sir Big Papa Moose of the Ogallala Aquifer in Liberal, Kansas, 50. John Short, 50. Kyle Meyer in Atlanta, Georgia. And last but not least, Dame Knight in Edmonds, Washington. I want to thank these folks for making 1312 possible.
Indeed. And, let's do that special health karma that we promised earlier.
You've got karma.
Thank you to our producers here who keep the show going. It is time, talent, and treasure. It's very important. Thanks to everyone under 50 for reasons of anonymity or, and if you're not already doing this, please think about returning some value on a regular basis, doing one of our many subscription programs, which you can find at the famous website address,
Dvorak.org/NA.
Well, here here we go. It is the 14th already? 14th of January. We have on the birthday list MM, who says happy birthday to her boyfriend Ewan, probably. Dakota Walker, who celebrates on the 13th. Sir Kenneth will be 33 on the 15th. Mike Brewer says happy birthday to Loopy Lindrum, who'll be celebrating tomorrow. And Femke Fun Bemelin says happy birthday to her daughter Arwen, who turns 15 on the 20th, and her handsome hubby Ramy, who will be 48 on January 16th. Happy birthday from everybody here at the best podcast in the universe.
It's your birthday, yeah. Title changes. Turn and face the slaves. Title changes. Don't want to be a douchebag.
The baronies, the peerages, they all shift around from time to time as our peerage steps up with more aggregate donations of $1,000 or more. That's why we are very happy to welcome Sir Kenneth, the Norseman of Leith, as Baronet Kenneth, the Norseman of, is that Leth or Leith? Leth. Leith. I should really figure that one out. Congratulations, Sir Kenneth, and thank you so much for your courage. We have two knightings right now on deck. So the gentlemen are already ready to join us here at the round table. Let's bring out the blades. Yep. Nice. Up here, please, next to me, Gary, Faris, and Ramy. Hello, gentlemen. Both of you qualify and are very welcome here at the table, a round table with no agenda knights and dames. This is where we pronounceicate you with your new official title. And I hereby pronounceicate thee as Knight of the Greasy Creek in southwest Missouri and Sir Stinkfinger, the Plague from The Hague. For you, we have Hookers and Blow, Rent Boys, and Chardonnay. Let's add to that Viscotti Imperial Stout and Rice met Curry Sauce and Cappuccinos met Speck. Beer and blunts, we'll add those. We got some ginger ale and gerbils, bong hits and bourbon, geishas and sake, and of course, if you want to add it to the Viscotti, here's some mutton and mead, which is always ready for you at the round table here at the No Agenda show. To get your ring and your sealing wax and your official certificate, please go to noagendanation.com/rings. And thank you both. And thank everybody for supporting the No Agenda show. As you know, according to the Mueller Report, the best podcast in the universe.
No Agenda Meetups.
The No Agenda Meetups. I got a written report here. Let me see. Got a written report from the East Tennessee meetup from Dr. John Cummins. I wanted to report on our most excellent meetup last night at the Dandridge Brewing Company. I don't know if Adam reports this stuff or not. Yes, I do. Anyways, we had 18 all non-muzzled people in attendance and a great ratio, 11 male, 7 female. We had a dude named Ben even. I don't know if we had any knights or dames, but we had 12 regular listeners to the show, 2 newbies, and 4 that have not listened but will. We had a super time for 4 hours, drinking beer, eating food, getting to know each other. It was like a party. All agreed that we need more parties sooner rather than later, and they're going to do it in the same venue. A successful meetup. Congratulations. We love that. On the calendar for, tomorrow, we have Kansas City Full Frontal Exposure Edition at 6 o'clock. John Chilitos in Mission. New on the list for the 16th, that's Saturday, Midland, Texas meetup at 2 o'clock at Rusty Bucket's Barbecue. Also on Saturday, the local 919 Durham, North Carolina at 4 o'clock. The venue may change, but for now it's Kickback Jacks. Tiny Amygdala of Anchorage, the one I wanted to go through. 4 o'clock, 4 p.m. Alaska time at Matanuska Brewing, Midtown Anchorage. On Sunday, Sioux Falls, South Dakotans of Gitmo Nation, the meetup at 2 o'clock at Granite City. And on the 17th, we have the Southwest Florida pre-inauguration meetup at 11:11 at the Beach Box Cafe. And let me see, we have on the list, the 19th will be Dallas-Fort Worth, the 20th, Quebec City, 22nd, Miami, 23rd, Pittsburgh, also Springfield, Missouri. It's like a world tour. It's like doing the tour dates for Beyonce.
Quebec City be fun.
Let's
Kind of
go.
cold this time of year.
Let's go.
Yeah, kind of cold.
These are the meetups for the next few days and weeks. You can find all of the meetups at noagendameetups.com. And if you're looking at it and saying, hey, there's really nothing nearby, I'm not near Quebec City, You know what you can do? Just start one yourself. It's easy. NoAgendaMeetups.com. It's like a party.
Sometimes you wanna go hang out with all the nights and days. You wanna be where you won't be triggered or held to blame. You wanna be where everybody feels the same. It's like a party.
So since I haven't seen her in 14 months, I've decided I have to go visit my daughter. Probably I'm going to shoot for around February 9th. Hopefully the lockup will not be continued, but it's unlikely. And I've called, I've been in touch with the embassy because you can't travel. You're not allowed to travel unless you have an exemption to the Netherlands during lockdown. And these rules changed 2 days ago. However, how funny is it that, yes, media is exempt? And as long as I get an invitation and perform some journalistic media duty, which I think I can arrange.
Take a picture.
No, I've got a radio show to do. I have to report on the United States. Well, I got friends in radio.
Good idea. Yeah,
you do. And I'm going to get an invitation from the Dutch Government Broadcasting Organization. So
there you go. Now you're talking.
Yeah. And so I don't know if we might be able to do a meetup, a clandestine meetup when I'm there. Because you can't, nothing's going to be open. We just all
you some of you got somebody that's got a place they can. Yeah, you can work that out.
That is,
you should.
Are you kidding? You can't do that in the Netherlands. People will think on you, and then we'll all get arrested.
You can manage it.
Well,
the underground worked during German occupation after they took the bikes away. They were working. Yeah,
where are those Dutch people? Exactly. Thank you. That's the spirit I'm looking for. But it's okay. As long as I'll do that, as long as you can do the show without me. When I'm in the slammer.
I'll get a hold of Mo.
Oh, yeah.
All right, well, I got a couple of things to finish with.
Yes.
I got good news.
Hey, wait, first, do you have an ISO? What are we going to do for the end here?
I do have one ISO. It's the only one I really have, which is the bullcrap ISO.
Oh, yeah, this is going to work.
I call bullcrap.
Dynamite, no argument. You're in, you're done. It's perfect.
And now I do have to play this. This is the Newsom recall update.
Ooh, yes. I believe this might be working.
Now, a major milestone in the push to recall Governor Newsom.
Wait a minute. Is this a local news report?
Yeah.
What kind of read is this? A major
local news. This is like, what are you going to do?
I'm sorry.
Now, a major milestone in the push to recall Governor Newsom. The campaign now has 1 million signatures. The campaign needs to get about 800,000 more by March to qualify the recall for the ballot. Organizers hope that the recall election will be held in August or September, and say former San Diego Mayor Kevin Falconer and John Cox are among the potential candidates.
It's going to happen. He doesn't look good. He looks like he's very upset about this.
Oh, because he knows he's toast.
Well, he could be if they get they'll get the other 800. I think
they're doing Save Austin and Recall Adler here, and they're getting signatures. They're getting close. They were even at our meetup the other day.
How many do you need?
Oh, it's not many. I think it's some low amount, like 20,000 or something. It's not a lot.
I have some world updates here. We've got another number of them. The one, though, that I think that people like is this 18-second clip from France 24 about, remember that South Korean woman that was the president for a while?
Park?
They arrested her. Yeah, Park, yeah. Well, here's the update on her.
South Korea's Supreme Court has upheld a 20-year prison sentence for the former president Park Geun-hye. The conservative leader was charged with corruption and removed from office in 2017. In total, she's set to spend 22 years behind bars, and she was also found guilty of election meddling in a separate case.
Wow.
Yeah, they'd like to do that with Trump.
Hey, by the way, where's Jack Ma?
I don't know. They still haven't heard?
No. Not that I know of.
He'll be dead. We got Italy's falling apart. You know about this?
I know a lot about Italy, but I'm not sure what this refers to. Let's listen.
Well, this is the government is having issues.
Oh, the government.
Matteo Renzi has pulled ministers from his small centrist party out of the cabinet, leaving the coalition without a majority in parliament. The move threatens to throw the Eurozone's third largest economy into political chaos at a time it's battling a surge of COVID-19 cases and a deepening recession. Renzi had long been at odds with the current Prime Minister, Giuseppe Conte, over how billions of euros of EU coronavirus funds would be spent.
Leaving Italy's ruling coalition on the brink of collapse, former Prime Minister Matteo Renzi announced on Wednesday that cabinet ministers from his party Italia Viva were resigning their positions in government.
La democrazia ha delle forme e se le forme non vengono rispettate, come è accaduto purtroppo in questo...
Renzi had long threatened to quit government, complaining about Prime Minister Giuseppe Conte's plans for spending billions of euros promised by the EU to relaunch the Italian economy. Despite the resignations, Renzi said his party could be open to backing a new administration led by Conte. It remains unclear what Conte or his main allies, the Five Star Movement and centre-left Democratic Party, will do next. The coalition parties could attempt to renegotiate a new pact with Italia Viva, almost certainly opening the way for a major cabinet reshuffle.
Yeah, I got to talk to Willow. She says everything's a mess. Everything's a mess. Yeah. And they're not under any lockdown. Most of Europe is under lockdown, and they're kind of not.
Well, it doesn't help when everybody else is locked down. It's like here, we got one state locked down. South Dakota's never locked down, and they're doing fine.
Right, but Italy, I mean, what, they haven't learned? How can we have a new variant and they're not locking down because we've learned? They were the ones everyone died. Italy.
Yeah, they're all dead. That's the reason. Hong Kong.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
No, I had to go ahead. It's fine. Whatever.
Go ahead. No, you go ahead. No, you go ahead. Please, you go ahead. I'm going to skip this other one. A bunch of people got arrested in Hong Kong. That's to be expected by the Chinese. But the humorous clip, if you want to go out.
I have a humorous clip for out.
Okay, well, I got it. My pre-humorous clip for out.
A humorous.
It's a humorous. It's the Tintin art. For people out there who like to collect art.
Oh, Tintin.
This is the Tintin art auction.
And finally, a one-of-a-kind original artwork of legendary comic book hero Tintin is on sale here in Paris this Thursday. The painting was supposed to be used as the cover of the 1936 edition of Adventures of Tintin in the Far East, The Blue Lotus, though it was rejected because it would have required too many colours in the printing process. If you're interested in trying to acquire it, the auction estimate is a mere 2.8 million euros.
I grew up with Tintin, except it wasn't Tintin in Dutch because it was translated into Dutch. It was Kuifje. Kuifje. I don't think many Americans know Tintin.
No, they never came over here. They never tried to push it here.
Final clip for me, and I think that should do it for us, is NPR, who are very busy reporting on the incoming Biden crime family and what they're going to be doing and changing and bringing into the White House and the Oval Office. And wouldn't you know it, I had to clip at least half of this 2-minute report out because it just consisted of barking and whining.
Donald Trump has been the first president in more than a century without a dog. Next week, Joe Biden restores the tradition with 2 German shepherds, Major and Champ. Major story in particular is a wags to riches tale.
We had someone from the community reach out to us.
Please note, wags to riches.
Particular is a wags to riches tale.
We had someone from the community reach out to us who had a litter of German Shepherd puppies, and they weren't doing well.
Patrick Carroll is executive director to the Delaware Humane Association. He says Major and his 5 litter mates were hospitalized for days.
They had gotten into a toxic substance. We're not sure what, but it was curable, but it just required medical care.
He's so cute.
So we put them into foster homes once we got them better.
One of those fosters was Joe Biden. Major found his forever home. Biden fully adopted him in November of 2018.
Major will be the first dog to go from a shelter to the White House. But he follows in the footprints of another rescue dog, Yuki.
He is the friendliest
and the smartest and the most constant in his attentions of all the dogs that I've known.
That's President Lyndon Johnson, whose daughter picked up the pup at a gas station in Texas.
The Delaware Humane Association is holding a virtual indauguration for the first dog elect on Sunday.
Dogs are people, too.
The indauguration! It's bad. That's NPR.
A topper for sure.
That's NPR, everybody. That's your public
NPRs
radio.
are on top of it.
Yeah. Message: Trump hates dogs.
You're not barking up the wrong tree when you listen to them.
Let's see. Up next on NoAgendaStream.com. Oh, the latest episode of Podcasting 2.0. Thank you very much, Darren, for putting that on. Also, end of show mixes Jesse Coy Nelson, Doug Longenecker, which I will say up front, John did not want me to play. He thought it was no good.
No, I didn't say that. I think it's disturbing.
Well, you said you didn't want me to play it.
No, I did say I didn't want you to play it because I thought it was too disturbing.
It's disturbing. I will agree it's disturbing. So, look forward to that, like you needed more disturbing stuff to listen to. And coming to you from Opportunity Zone 33 here in the frontier of the capital of Texas. It's the Drone Star State. FEMA region number 6 in the governmental maps. In the morning, everybody, I'm Adam Curry.
And from northern Silicon Valley, where it looks like traffic's pretty normal, even though it's supposed to be shut down, locked down, I don't know what. I'm John C. Dvorak.
We return on Sunday right here on No Agenda. Please remember us at Dvorak.org/NA. Until then, adios, mofos! And such.
Servers and bartenders sported red suspenders that stood out in the all-white decor.
Wow!
3 dangling white signs spelled out story.
They put a picture up that was Vladimir Putin with his bare chest, and then they had these 3 guys of dreamy eyes, and then the whole thing was very gay. Bump cheeks.
Yeah.
Like you go up there and bump the cheek.
Doesn't his wife look scary? I mean, not like ugly or anything, but she looks just
she
like
looks mean-spirited.
She looks mean-spirited, exactly.
Yes, she does.
She does,
and
like
then,
she'll eat your head off. Her breasts were as big as my head.
She's kind of a wide-bottom woman, very kind of attractive, but the New York Times does not go to this event.
Watching Charlie Rose eat a salad is stomach churning. The man, he like shovels the leaves into his mouth and he's bending forward.
How does he hold the fork?
Yeah, well, he holds it correctly, not like you. We all know you hold the fork incorrectly.
And what is Al Roker's a weatherman? Why is he there?
Well, because he left his dirty underwear in the White House. Biden was getting pooped on.
Journalists can tell people the truth and even tell people what is not the truth.
Joe Biden driving around in a yellow Corvette because he's such a boob.
Doofus.
Yeah, he's a doofus, that's right.
They were giving Biden a little ribbing.
Biden was getting pooped on. It's a lot of fun to drink and get laid if someone else is paying the bill.
I don't notice that many people are getting laid.
Oh, yeah, no. Nancy Pelosi took a picture with the cast from House of Cards.
HLC.
HLC, hello.
There's no smoking. The drinking has changed. Reporters used to drink many bottles of scotch, whiskey at every table. Now it's a lot less drinking, more wine, and as the waiters tell me, a lot of fruit-flavored drinks.
They're not drinking anymore.
No, this is bad. This is very bad.
In the 40s, we would have multiple entertainers, including Frank Sinatra and Bing Crosby and Animal Acts and Hollywood guest Barbra Streisand came to her first dinner in 1962. The chairman of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee. In my world, that's a celebrity.
Of course, each society is different and some are fundamentally different, but there's a certain common ingredients that make up success. Basic liberties so citizens can think and speak freely and journalists can tell people the truth and even tell people what is not the truth.
The press is bad. The press is bad.
Corn Pop.
Orange Man bad.
Corn Pop.
What the French is going on there?
Corn Pop.
Well, Rachel is an idiot.
Did you like it? Why is everybody being so mean out there?
You can read that exact same sentence without the word baseless.
Another built back.
And the sentence does not change.
Fake news day. I need a little girl to say,
shut up, slave. Does anybody know a baseless world?
From a stolen lockdown day.
Behind the curtain,
look at the swollen.
That's where we got our lizard
brains.
people numbers from.
Lower classes. All I've always wanted to say.
Boys, everybody. So mean out there.
All I really need is a Fletcher screen. The show must go on. Dvorak.org.
28%.
The show's come.
Just know what's in this show here.
Hey.
Nailing it. To believe that a secret...
My memes may be flaking, but my smile...
This is face diapers.
Always.
Authoritarian.
Stays on.
World government or new world order.
Just a stroll down Capitol to the hallowed, infamous hate. Stick a little needle in me, baby. I won't feel a thing. See the discourse engineer, civil chaos we create.
What's a relearning, dear both?
What say the crack pottery now? Buzzkill, are you turning?
American.
Will you call it a foul? Holy glibbery. What difference at this point does it make? The difference, The show must go on. Dvorak.org. The show must go on. /NA donate. My deep state may be faking, but my eyes every day always keeps me small.
28%.
Hillary.
Believe that a secret authoritarian
Lady
world government or
New world order. New world order.
Would you like it, passengers? I would be talking.
Well, sail, you mighty ship of state, to civil hates divide. We are more, we are mightier, we are the 99.
Now, what would Cynthia McKinney say? Fight for Jesus, too.
Show must go on. Dvorak.org. Show must go on. /NA donate. My deep state may be faking, but my smile so elitely.
Was this is? Face
Authoritarian.
Lockdown, down. What's this that, huh?
No agenda. I'm never giving in.
What are your English there? Dollies for their pins?
With a grin.
Ich bin fertig mit Rumspringer.
Dvorak.org/NA. Klaus needed exit strategy. The best podcast in the universe.
Adios, mofo.
Dvorak.org/NA.
Paul, bullcrap.